And our mission as a party is to build a united, peaceful, secure, and prosperous country. Can you become the economic powerhouse of Africa if you are divided? No. Can you become the economic powerhouse of Africa if there's no peace in your country? No. Can you become the powerhouse if you are not secure as a nation? And also, our mission is to provide equal opportunity for all Ghanaians, not for some, but for all Ghanaians. What we have been witnessing since independence is that the opportunities are open for only a few people. The United Party is going to change that dynamics in Ghanaian politics.
That's Alan Chimantin's United Party. The movement for change has now been transformed into a butterfly, a full-blown butterfly for that matter. That's United Party, UP+. That's a new political identity that was launched earlier, that's in the last couple of days. Now, the rebranding, which according to the founder, draws on the historical resonance of the United Party name, aims to champion accountability, economic progress, and inclusive leadership, help to redefine Ghana's governance landscape. Well, you heard Alan Chimantin there. A number of things have come up, including the fact that some members of the New Patriotic Party are mulling the idea of taking this matter to court because, in their view, this UP is part of the historical identity of the New Patriotic Party. It's an integral part of the historical identity of the MPP. And so they want to test the law, specifically the Political Parties Act, Section 10. We would have a conversation on this matter as well and look at whether or not this United Party is the third force that many have been clamoring for, or Alan Chimantin is a spent shell, as others would describe him. We would track the performance of breakaway parties in our body politics and our elections in this country, whether this United Party Plus would be the game changer for breakaway parties' history in this country. So stay with us here on Key Point. Also, coming up, the former Chief Justice, Gertrude Araba Esaba Saki Tukono, has filed another action seeking to stop the vetting and subsequent appointment of Justice Bafo-Boni as the next Chief Justice of Ghana, amongst other things that she is asking for in this latest application at the High Court. It's essentially a judicial review seeking to quash all proceedings of the Justice Gabriel Scott Pwamang Committee established under Article 146 to consider petitions for her removal. Now, the former Chief Justice is also asking the court to set aside all proceedings conducted by the committee tasked with investigating petitions for her removal. Is it one too many? In fact, we've counted so far, this is the 8th application since this entire process of her removal began. Is it abuse of the court's processes, or it is she asserting her right? And for others who also look into this particular situation, to the extent that this is an unprecedented development in our jurisprudence, we should allow every process to go through so that there will be a solid precedence in when we're looking at things in the near future. We'll have a conversation on this particular development this morning here on Key Point Well, the Medina District Court discharged and accused the murder case of investigative journalist Ahmed Swale. That generated some conversation. We've seen the Attorney General also this week. Now, the third accused in this Eduboahen case has now become a prosecution witness, Mildred Donko. Well, yesterday, lawyer for Kwabena Eduboahen, that's lawyer Samuel Atachia, says, in his view, it's very strange that a third accused has now become a prosecution witness. How strange is this? It's a conversation that we will have this morning here on Key Point, juxtaposing all the views and the divergent opinions that will be expressed. He says this is a monstrous absurdity. We'll subject that to a conversation this morning here on Key Point. So always, you're an integral part of the conversation. In many ways, you can join us on Facebook and also on X and on YouTube. We're streaming on TV3 Ghana. So look out for us and share your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions with us. We're also on the Voice of London Radio in the heart of the City of London, the Voice of London Television. We are on a number of radio stations across the country. So you can connect with us as well. My name is Alfred Ocansey. Welcome to the Key Point on TV3. The key issues of the week, together with my guests who already started taking their seats. They will join me shortly. We'll start the conversation after this quick break. We'll start off with the poll tracker. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly.
And our mission as a party is to build one, a united, peaceful, secure, and prosperous country. Can you become the economic powerhouse of Africa if you are divided? No. Can you become the economic powerhouse of Africa if there's no peace in your country? No. Can you become the powerhouse if you are not secure as a nation? And also, our mission is to provide equal opportunity for all Ghanaians, not for some, but for all Ghanaians. What we have been witnessing since independence is that the opportunities are open for only a few people. The United Party is going to change that dynamics in Ghanaian politics. And it is to provide the opportunity for every Ghanaian to realize their full potential. If you want to become a carpenter, want to become the best carpenter in Ghana. If you are an electrician, we want you to become the best electrician. The soul and strength of every political organization is anchored on its values. Say, uni esuna uni ebaya. You are nobody.
That's the former trade minister, the leader of the movement for change into the 2024 election. That movement has now grown into a full butterfly. They've always had the butterfly as a symbol. That clearly indicated that was a movement in progress. Now they appear to have assumed their full-blown identity of the full-blown butterfly. They are the butterfly called the United Party Plus. That UP, that name, that goes to the roots and the foundations of the new patriotic party, is what this full-blown butterfly has grown into. UP. They've added the plus to it. What does this really mean? Some members within the MPP say that, look, they're going to test the law. They are going to court because this is an attempt to dilute the history of the new patriotic party. What we're going to do is to track the performance of breakaway parties in our body politics, and as to whether the history of breakaway parties and their performance in elections favors this new political party, which can be best described as well as a breakaway party. So welcome to Poll Tracker. This is a segment that if you're new to it, it's a data-driven segment where we show you verifiable data that you can also verify yourself. Follow us every step of the way. And this is put together by our research team, Wisdom, Safo, Enoch, and the rest of the team putting this together. This United Party Plus, is this the third force we've been clamoring for? Or it's going to be one of the political parties will be the flash in the pan in our body politics? Does Alan Chemantin have what it takes, the metal, to be the third force? Or he's a spent shell, as some have described him? We have 9+ breakaway parties since 1992. We are limiting ourselves to the Fourth Republic. And I'll take you through a few of them. Right from Dr. Obeda Samoa, starting from there, and this, what he described as suppressed democracy in the NDC, reason why he broke away, and all the issues that surrounded the process of getting the late Professor John Evans Atemils to be flag bearer, and all the issues that came with it. Then, Dr. Charles Rakubrebe as well had UGM. And this specific issues that led to the formation of this party was this matter of leadership conflict and matters arising in the run-up to what was described as a very, very important moment in the MPP's transformation, the growth process, and then also getting persons who were described as grassroots members and also founding members to be the face of the party going forward. Gusitano, who is now the lead figure in this 24-hour economy implementation by this administration, also left the NDC to form the National Reform Party. We'll show you their fortunes in our elections in this country. Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum left the CPP to join, in fact, to form the Progressive People's Party. There are many who even described him as the only potent third force, sort of, that we have had in our body politics in this country. In fact, at some point, he indeed posed a great mettle and strength to that expectation of a third force. Well, we saw Nana Konadu Agyemang Rawlings also form the National Development Party, NDP, National Democratic Party. Now, this was as a result of what was described as unfair competition within the NDC. We saw the founder and the late Jerry John Rawlings, and many who described it as a divided allegiance to the party he founded and what his wife had also founded. The NDC had to deal with this and are still dealing with it. Hassan Ayariga left the PNC after he lost that primaries in 2016 to represent the PNC and formed the APC, All People's Congress. He has seen 2 elections, but didn't do much as well. So this is how the picture looks like when it comes to breakaway parties and their mother parties. In fact, the NDC has given birth to 4 breakaway parties. The MPP, 2. CPP, 1 breakaway. PNC also has given birth to 1 breakaway party. Look at the results, the presidential results in elections, and it doesn't tell a good story. Look, the highest any of them has come is close to 2%, and that is Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum. And that's why I also referred to him earlier as the only potent breakaway presidential candidate we have had since 1992. He looked like the third force that we were clamoring for in our body politics. Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum. The PPP now has fizzled out, we all know, because of all the issues that had to do with the business of Papa Kwesi Ndum. He was the sole bankroller of the party, who had these issues, and as a result, PPP is struggling as we speak. In fact, they didn't have the chance to even contest in the 2024 elections because they were disqualified. Look at Gosi Tano, came in second per our ranking, a little over 1%. Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum's second attempt, they reduced. And then you have Dr. Charles Rekubrobe, Alan Chemanting. In fact, the 2024 election, this is Alan Chemanting showing 0.28%. 0.28%, less than 1% of the valid vote cast. Is there going to be any difference at all with this small butterfly, black, that has now been transformed into a full-blown yellow and black butterfly called United Plus, United Party Plus? Will this full-blown United Party Plus butterfly be able to pose a threat to the elephant and the umbrella? Because one of their sole aims is to break the duopoly between MPP and NDC. This is it. This is the structure and the party's entire modus going into 2028. We'll get into the past primaries of Alan Chemanting in the MPP and whether he poses a threat to the New Patriotic Party. But this is what they are presenting now. United Party Plus, much to the disapproval of the MPP. Why United Party? Why? There's a man in the studio who would answer that question. Solomon Owusu is the National Director of Communications of the United Party Plus. Ms. Osu, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, my brother. Thank you for having me here.
It's good to have you. Many who have
here.
been looking forward to see you and your twin brother.
You know what you have made me to do.
Thank you for coming. Also, with us this morning is Dr. Joshua Zato, is a senior lecturer, political science department, University of Ghana, Legon, and also he sought at some point to represent the MPP in Parliament, but lost the primaries. But there was a question last week.
He supports Baumia.
Yes.
Baumia camp, right?
Good morning.
Record. Baumia camp.
Yeah. No, he hasn't denied that. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning, Alfred, and thank you for having me here.
Fantastic. I don't think his political life has ended as yet. It would not be wrong to say he's mulling the idea to contest again. And for now, I think Martin Kpebu would even support you going into Parliament.
Thank you. Thank you,
Oh,
Martin.
Martin,
Thank you.
that one,
You write the
certainly.
check. Thank you. Thank
Yes.
you.
Oh, I'll
grateful.
support you both
Thank you.
financial everything.
Thank you, Martin.
Because
Thank
we
you.
need, more, read people, okay, intellectual-wise, at least, you need to have studied a lot more. We need a certain level of depth in Parliament. Parliament could do with a lot more of depth.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Martin Kpebu
Thank you.
is private legal practitioner, leader of...
It's just that reduce the partisanship. Yeah, that's where you see I sit here. I supported GM, but it depends on the topic. I
Indeed.
shift. But you every time just because you are MPP, you are always coming in one direction. If you go with that attitude to Parliament one term, I will support that they take you out. Yeah.
Kazo, it's good to have you.
Oh, I'm telling
It's
you.
good to have
Thank you,
you.
Martin. Thank you.
Kazo, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank
It's
you.
good to be here. Ghana's number one talk show, right?
Indeed.
Yes, number one, unparalleled, uncontested, right? Yes. And
What's this one?
it's
The hat.
another fedora.
Fedora.
Yeah.
This is another fedora.
Yeah.
You need to
Nice.
take me to your fashion designer. It was like 70.
the
Was it the
fans-
hats? You have more hats than the Queen of England. Like everything.
The fans are asking for it. Because I didn't play. They said the sports were too much. I should change. So I had to change for
You're
them.
looking good.
Alfred, you must say, I'm wearing this for my friend Solomon, and he didn't wear his butterfly. You
that one, they also took him on.
Exactly. You come. I'm here wearing
You
yellow
are
to
wearing
support
the
you,
yellow.
and then even Alfred has some yellow on it. We have supported spirit.
For 2032, you have a bit of my
People
support
have
because we are
started.
looking at a long game.
There are a lot of
Yes.
men that
Not
wears
2028.
wedding rings, but in their hearts they don't love their wives.
It's a dangerous thing.
I love the party in my heart, so I have to exemplify that one in my heart.
Why you are going in, it's very slippery.
Martin says, "Don't go there."
Again. Yes, so Mr. Ocansey, let me greet the normal routine. Of course, they want to repeat again that men above 40 should do the testing for prostate cancer.
It's
Please,
important.
very, very, very important. I told you last week that I have seen a few good men, people very respectable in society, people that, like we say, I'm not insulting, I'm not criticizing, but people that usually we say, oh, should know better. They didn't go early. And so by the time they went for the test, everything, it was too late. Doctors couldn't save them. So please, as I mentioned, if you look at the test, what I did mine, it was a bit about 500 for each one. So the two together, about 1,200, 1,100, 1,200. So please, 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 you are holding an iPhone 16, iPhone what, your suits are very expensive, 1,200, go get the test. Because
It's
they
important.
say the tests have to be done in 2 different and independent laboratories so that the doctors can compare. Very, very important. Then number 2, we've not had the time to celebrate the appointment of Spiogaba as the advisor on reparations.
Yes.
That's a topic very dear to my heart because we all know that, Charlie, you go to America, UK, etc., their economies were built on our sweat, slavery, etc., right? So today it is time for them to return something to us. So I think Spiogaba's appointment is what we should be looking at. As a society, what should we do to join the support? We need reparations. We need reparations because, as I mentioned, look, the Federal Bank, US, yes, They took taxes from the slave owners, etc. You go to UK. I mean, come on. We built those nations. We built those nations. Our forefathers built those nations. So today they are high up there because they are standing on our shoulders. So they must return something to us.
Absolutely.
They must. So Spiogaba, we need to see more. Maybe let's have more public lectures. Some people don't seem to understand that victims, etc. No, it's just like in Ghana here, how the colonialists built schools in the south and didn't build in the north, and then it created a generational problem. That's the same thing slavery did to us. So please don't think we are playing victim. No, you don't understand what slavery did to us if you don't support the call for reparations. Okay, so yes, Antoine for Ekufu, former Chief Justice, thank you for all the advocacy you did, even though you were made made CJ by President Kufuor, your relation, yet you didn't think that you should follow only your stomach. So when times were bad, you came out and spoke out vociferously against President Kufuor. Domahini, thank you. Hey, Domahini is now Court of Appeal judge. So Domahini, more success. Then Kentucky Teko Churu the second. We want to see more fire. Gamanche, please. The Sisiladapa matter is not dead. The matter is with Yoko. So maybe Gamanche should be paying a visit to Raymond Nacha one of these days to see how the Sisiladapa investigations is ongoing so that we too can get more visibility. Thank you.
And I do appreciate this as well. Thank you. Thank you very much for this. Every week I keep getting messages about updates on cases, especially Cecilia Dapa as well. So it's good that you bring that up as well. The man with the numbers, Musa Dankwa, Executive Director of Global Info Analytics, is also here with us. Mr. Dankwa, good morning.
Good morning, Alfred.
It's good to have you.
Good to be here.
I got you out of bed
So
early.
Kasi because rushing, we didn't add to be after
Forgive me.
They also fought.
Forgive me. Forgive me. I am very, very sorry.
Returned the certain allowances to the Council of State because he just thought that no, that was wrong. Ekufuado's governance was so bad. So to be after you two, we are forever grateful. Thank you.
Good morning to Toby Apede. I wasn't rushing. You were running through it. Like,
I thought the
don't
time
worry.
was running out.
Don't worry at all.
Okay.
This picture, as we are seeing, tells a story. But before we get into the story that this butterfly wants to bring to our body politics, why United Party Plus? Zozu, why?
Thank you very much, Alfred, and then good morning to your cherished viewers. First of all, we have to admit that most of the founding members of this new party, the United Party, are coming from the UP stock. We cannot run away from it. But about 99% of us are from the original UP.
Original UP.
Yes.
NPP.
I mean, the NPP now, you have to define it well. The current NPP is Nana People's Party. I signed on to the New Patriotic Party. So
the current NPP is what?
Nana People's Party.
It's New Patriotic Party.
No, that is not the. But that would be a subject matter for another day.
I see.
So most of us are with that UP mentality, and that is why we believe that we need to go back to the ideals and principles of the old UP. We added a plus because we believe that times have also changed. We need to position ourselves to meet the modern realities. And so we have taken all the goodies of the old UP and then reflecting on the current situation to add current goodies to make it the UP plus. So that is what informed the name. And I can tell you that since Thursday that this party came into being, their response rate has been massive. Has been exclusively massive.
I mean, your chairman, Alhaji Boniface Abubakar Sadiq, he has inked his name in our body politics, for that matter. But then again, so what is going to be the initials? It's UPP, because then...
No, it's UP, but the plus is just to let people understand. You know, the original UP was so antagonistic towards the CPP. With the plus, what we are saying is that we are bringing on board every political. But that is the bad aspect of the old UP that we did not take.
So you are disassociating yourself with the bad UP?
Yes, we have only taken the good policies
and the good,
absolutely, of the old UP. And so the plus is to invite all other dissenting opinions to join us to build a better. That's why it's united.
Why are you not acknowledging the NPP in the UP plus? Because you are from the NPP. Alan Chemanting is an NPP stock product. Alhaji Abubakar Boniface Sadiq as well is from the MPP stock. You are skipping your current relative to go to your ancestors? What's happening?
So, in the last couple of years, you have heard NPP people actually distance themselves from the UP and create a new ideology called the Damka Dombo Buzia. Haven't you heard that? They kept saying the Damka Dombo Buzia. The UP itself was formed by an amalgamation of political parties. The Ganshifi Mokpe, the Muslim Association, the Allah Youth, the Northern People's Party, the NLM, and so on and so on. But conveniently, they changed their own history. That's why I say it's Nana People's Party, to reduce it to only 3 gates: the Dankwa, the Buzia, and the Dombo. So what they have been telling the entire country is that if you are not from these 3 gates, you can never become a leader of the party. We believe that no, we are building a country. Everyone in this country matters. And so we cannot go with the idea of reducing ourselves to only 3 gates. So that if you are a Ga, you do not have any opportunity in this current NPP. If you are an Zima, you don't have any opportunity in this current NPP. If you are from the Volta region, from the Oti region, and from other regions that are not captured in the gate, you are not represented. We want to be a national party where everyone has an input in it. That is why we believe that we are the ones representing the original ideals and principles of the UP and not the NPP as they want to claim.
Yeah, the Buzia you talk about was also part of the formation of UP.
Yes.
In 1957.
Yes. But he was not the only person that formed the UP.
These are the faces.
Yes.
He's not the only one.
These were not the only. In fact, those that played a critical role in the UP did not include J.B. Dankwa. What was his role in the formation of the UP? For him to amply represent. We have been twisting history, and because it suits people's propaganda, because it suits the narrative that people can write on it, we have made it as part of our history. Where is the picture? Kindly let me see the other picture that you have there. Can you see or can you find in these pictures the name of Bafwa Kutu? Where is Bafwa Kutu in this? It tells you how we have been dishonest in terms of our academic discourse, especially the historians that have been writing the history of the UP. Conveniently, they take out Bafwa Kutu when he was the founding father of the NLM. You understand? So if we tell you that they do not believe in the UP ideals, and rather we have come to implement all the good ideas of the UP, then you must understand this.
I see. Now, but is Alan Chemanting the man to change the fortunes of breakaway parties, as we have seen in history since 1992, at the least? Zidangwa?
Look, let's go by history. You've shown us some numbers that the third forces or third party candidates have performed over the years. And indeed, in the recent elections, we had performance of third parties and also independent candidates. Now, at the time he contested, he was not a political party. It was a movement. And we don't know yet whether transforming itself from movement to political party will change the dynamics. But if you look at what happened in the last election, you could see that his impact was negligible.
Is Alan Chemanting's impact, you described it as negligible?
In the last election, yes.
But and that's the question that you started with, that whether his fortunes will change now that he's moved from a movement to a full-blown political party, because that negligible performance is reflected in this picture. At least, let's narrow it down to the Ashanti region, and I'll come to the bigger picture of what happened nationwide. But in the Ashanti region, which has been described as his home region, this is the performance of Alan Chemanting in the 2024 elections, as you provided, 0.21%. That's 4,224 nominal terms. The MPP lost over 429,000 votes in the Ashanti region. And we compare this to all that you have been putting out prior to the elections. And Alan Chemanting did not really take a chunk or contribute to the chunk that the NPP lost in the Ashanti region. With this 4,254, as against the over 429,000 votes that the NPP lost in the Ashanti region. That's his home region. So
What happened?
What happened?
Right. There were some expectations that he would do well among MPP voters in the Ashanti region, and perhaps among people who were voting for other parties in the Ashanti region, and maybe the floating in the Ashanti region. But what happened in the exit poll? I mean, the poll that was done after the election to see who was voting for who in Ashanti region, you could see that among people who are floating voters, Baumi actually won the floating in Ashanti region, but around 70%.
Dr. Bamia won the floating voters.
In Ashanti region.
In Ashanti region.
70%. Alan got only 1%, about 0.7%. And the other candidates got 3.4%. So the other candidates, Cheddar and Co., did better than in terms of the exit poll than Alan. Now, if you look at those who were voting for other parties in Ashanti region, Alan actually got zero, nearly zero.
Zero?
Yes. So I was thinking that the other parties would probably gravitate towards Alan in the Ashanti region, but that didn't happen.
Right. It's interesting development in there. And you look at the Ashanti region picture because it's important, is it not?
Yes.
Being the home region of Alhaji Martin. And in fact, when he broke away from the MPP, there were many who were looking at the Ashanti region and what was going to happen there. And whether the NPP was still going to have a good showing without him. That also saw at least the choice of the running mate to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, Matthew Opoku Prempeh, to address the threat
of Alan
Kyerematen in the Ashanti. And that worked for the party, you would say?
Largely so, but also let's not forget that there was a desire to get rid of MPP government in the last election. So naturally, there were people who could have went for Alan, but for fear of dragging the race into runoff, they went for Mahama. So the 2024 is an exceptional election. Maybe 2028, we will see the true impact of Alan Kyerematen in the election. Because look, when you want to get rid of a government, there is kind of forces behind removal. But when you are voting to retain a government, those forces may not be the same. So let's see whether 2028, that impact or that kind of perception would hold. If that holds, then maybe we could see Alan do better than what he did in 2024.
Let me welcome Godwin Eduji Tamaklo. He is the first of all, the Director of Legal for the NDC and the CEO of the National Petroleum Authority, NPA. Eduji Tamaklo, good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Today, your panel is not a joke. This is like a World Cup qualifying team. So this morning, with my neighbor that I have not seen in 10 months. Boss, forgive me for the unfulfilled. And then my brother Zato, who is here today, representing the New Patriotic Party. I'm very excited that we'll have a very balanced, conversation. And the tormentor-in-chief, Solo, you need repentance. And as well, my very good senior Martin Kwebu. And as the professor, Prof, how are you, sir? So, this morning, we want to thank our viewers for the opportunity.
Indeed. Let me also acknowledge the presence of, since we are already in motion, a quick one, Professor Ransford Jampo. It's a professor. It's a professor of political science. First of.
I said,
and also,
thank you for having me. This is an assembly of a galaxy of stars. So today it will be butu. But let me make the point that preliminary remarks. You like always heckling me when when Martin is greeting everybody. Martin has stopped greeting.
He hasn't.
Yes,
I just said that
because we're not an angel. You have a downside
exactly.
and we
that's right. You're absolutely right.
So let me say that greetings to shipping lines. This time, not shippers. You know, I am seen to be fighting for the interests of shippers and protecting them from shipping lines. But our act tells us to be independent arbiters, and so we are supposed to fight for shippers, and we are supposed to also fight for the interest of shipping lines. I think over the week there were some issues. Some of them have allowed, or through I don't know, but some people operating within shipping lines have done things that were untoward, and these have these have led to a lot of resources being drained from the state, and it has also courted some penalties that have been slapped, on some of these shipping lines, and some of us have decided to also intervene. Not to say that the penalties should not be slapped, but maybe if they could, do something about the penalties, and then also we're going to work together to ensure that the shipping lines themselves come out with proposals as to how some of the leakages and slippages and some of the untoward things that happen that make the state lose money, how some of these things can be addressed so that at the end of the day, they can go about their legitimate business, and the state can also gain the resources that it needs from shipping, so that we'll have enough money for our development. And so just to make the point that we are not always fighting shipping lines.
Right.
Where it is necessary and where their interests would also have to be protected, we will do so. And so we will continue to play our role as Ghana Shippers Authority as independent, impartial arbiters to ensure that we deepen and promote international trade. So my regards and greetings to all shipping lines, and my newfound friend Imoru Ayana, the president of SOAG, Ship Owners Association.
Perfect.
That said, greetings once again to everybody. Eduji, ever since you became rich, you don't pick my call.
Thank you.
Zato, people don't know the relationship I have with you, but we go way back. Good to see you. Martin Pebu, who doesn't know, he doesn't know how to play football, but he's always coming to disturb us on the
Where
field.
did you go, Richie? He doesn't take my calls.
He doesn't take, yeah. And then Solo, this is my first time meeting you in person, but I keep wondering, how did the MPP lose somebody like Solo? How did they lose him? How?
So how did the MPP lose you?
How did they lose somebody like Solo? I think he's doing very well in shaping our political discourse. Anytime I see him on TV, I'm excited.
When he referenced Solo, one of the things that came to mind is that I have monitored Solo, and because we are almost of the same age, we've basically looked.
He's a young man. Okay.
We've basically looked at each other's politics over the period, and he's a tough sell.
Indeed.
Solo is a tough sell, and that is why I said he's the tormentor in chief. Look, you don't want him on as an adversary. You are better off having Solo on your side. Because you see, what Solo comes with is passion, depth, and that kind of intellect you really have. And language.
Yeah.
He does very good with Twi, does very good with English. So every platform you put him, he's just floating. I think that political parties consciously must identify such talents among us and do everything to keep them.
Yeah.
Because you see, our politics now, unlike in the past, when a few journalists will meet and set the agenda for the week, It's no longer the case. Now, like here, it's difficult to meet us and say, oh, today should be the agenda. No, it's almost impossible.
Who are you? To say that
And I always tell people that the only time NPP came to power, first time, was 2001, 2008.
Yeah.
At that time, look at the media at that time, the limitation with the media. And then look at from 2017, that should tell you the dynamics that changed that the NPP didn't recognize.
Yeah.
And so they had in mind, the old time, the coffee, people and the thing they
I'm
can.
counting you down on your time, just so you know.
So today things have changed, the dynamics have changed. Today we have the likes of Musa Dankwa. He has been doing things to NDC I don't like, but I can't call him.
Well, those
I don't want Zato to use it as a reference point for, curbing dissent in the country.
You give honor to.
Even my neighbor, I could just walk to him at home and say, Musa, you allow us some small briefing space. Let's govern 2 years.
Before you do Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. And Solo, you deserve it all. It's worth it. Thank you.
So you have heard.
Kind words.
You have heard. So allow governance for
2 years. They are just slipping it, They are slipping it in.
Thank you very much. Thank you. That said, this is what Musa Dankwa put out. This is the picture that he put out. Thank you. With Alan Chamanting, the 2024 elections, this was the overall outcome.
Correct.
That you captured. In fact, the Electoral Commission declared under 0.3, in fact, it was 0.26% thereabout. And then John Dramani Mahama 56.4, Dr. Mahmoud Bamiyan 41.8.
41.
No. The Electoral Commission, they corrected it. That was corrected. It's corrected. Yes.
41.7.
So the floating voters that you talk about.
Not 30.
No. It is not.
I think
it's been corrected. It's been corrected.
41.7.
I'll share the data with you. No problem.
so the 38.
No. Don't worry. Stop the meeting. So this floating voters, what does it say? Tell me about this.
Now, if you look at nationally, floating voters, people who don't align with NDC and MPP, in the last election, 58.2% went for John Mahama, 31.6% for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, 2% for Alan Chiramatin, and 8% for the other candidates, including Cheddar. So you could see that the floating voters drifted more towards the other candidates, which is Cheddar and the other people, than they did for Alan Chiramatin.
See, I'm going to give Solo the last word on this because clearly this picture of Alan Chamanting doesn't do the United Party Plus any good. And because of this picture, there are some who describe Alan as a spent shell and not one with the bullet that would cause any harm to the MPP and the NDC. Because that's one of the objectives, to break the duopoly. Will this happen? Well, Dr. Zato, the UP Plus objectives are directly picked from the roots of the MPP. You see that you abandoned, according to Solo, the values of UP. They are bringing it back and adding more value to it so that they would present the true UP to the people that you are disconnecting yourself from. But this is what the picture looks like.
Thank you very much. And once again, good morning to our listeners and good morning to those sitting here, Prof, DG, all I understand. Today, I want to try to situate my presentation in history, political history, and in maths. My maths is not good. Is yours good? Is yours better? Okay, we'll do that. When you do that, you can state without any hesitation and any equivocation that this new UP Plus will have zero and an infinitesimal impact on the NDC MPP duopoly.
They will have what?
Zero impact. Zero. Infinitesimal. It will not happen.
Infinitesimal.
Infinitesimal, yes. I hope that I pronounced the word well. I also state that the ultimate objective of this party is not to win power. It's not to become... No. The ultimate objective is to hurt His Excellency Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and to prevent Bawumia coming. This is a party that was conceived by the hatred and the dislike of Bawumia, not by any political ideology. If you want to understand what I'm saying and understand, I'm not a soothsayer, but sometimes I do this, you must ask yourself a question. Have you ever heard of President Reku Robe? Have you ever heard of President Park Kwesi? Have you ever heard of President Guzitano? Have you ever heard of President, what's his name? In fact, just put it there, President Obed Asamoah. You've never heard about them. The history has told you, and there's a reason why you've not heard about them. They all have one thing in common. At one point in time, they belonged to a political party. And then, due to various reasons, mostly associated with successions, presidential successions, they left their home, they left the mothership. And whenever they left the mothership, they perished. Again, that is what the history has told us, that whenever they leave the mothership, in this case, when you leave your main political party and you go somewhere, you perish. You perish because when you leave your own political party and you go somewhere, people see you as selfish, people see you as greedy, and people see you as unprincipled. And precisely because of that, they punish you. So let's go. I just want to do something quickly, small. Like, you've already done it for me. That's what I'm saying. You've done my whole presentation for me. But I want to zero in on one person in particular, Dr. Park Kwesi.
This man.
Dr. Park Kwesi. When J. Kufuor came in and preached his all-inclusive government, he brought Park Kwesi. And Park Kwesi was one of the most stellar performers in the Kufuor administration, no matter what you see. First, it was charge of public sector reforms, then later energy, and almost all the reforms you've seen in the energy sector, he brought them. Excellent, wonderful performer. Then he left, went back to his mother party, which was the CPP. Contested the 2008, was it 2008? Yes. And he got almost 114,000 votes. That was what he got in the CPP, almost 140,000 votes. Placing about 1.3 or 1.7 there, about 1.7% of the total vote. Yes, you want to see that. Then something happened. Also, because of succession problems, he left, formed his own Progressive People Party. And you want to see, his performance in the next election was abysmal. He dropped, just by a small, I tried to do some rudimentary maths here. I think he lost about 50,000 votes and fell down to from 1.7 to, you have it at 0.59. So when he was so, in fact, if you see it, he was better off on the mothership, on the CPP.
Park Kwesi was better off
on the mothership,
the CPP than
when he went up. And that has come to define. Reku Robe the same thing. When he was with the NPP, he left and came. History has told us that the voters humiliated him. The voters humbled him. We've seen that. Guzitano, the same thing. And the same thing with Alan Chamante. You want to understand. The thing is that Reku Robe could have an excuse. What's his name? Park Kwesi could have an excuse. Because before this time, none of them had run in the primary, in the national primary before. But Alan had. So Alan had national experience of running in national primary because he contested Akufo-Addo in the 2007 primary. He also contested other primaries. So by the time Alan was breaking away, he should have come with all the pluses that you need. Name recognition, face recognition, national exposure, because he's done that. He went around the whole country campaigning. But look at the results that he got in the 2024 elections. Numbers don't lie. This is not about numbers. Despite all that, I want you to understand, it was in 2027 that he became Alan Cash, and everybody, in fact, became so popular that he was using a song, right? Sarkodie had a song, Alan Cash.
So the Alan Cash was from 2008.
Yes, exactly. I'm trying to make a point that he had national recognition, so much so that pop stars were using his name in their production. And then what happened when he faced the voters?
0.3%.
So it tells you something. That's what I'm saying today. So if you are, what's the name, into betting, and you ask yourself, where should you put your money? I'm saying just look at the numbers. Look at the numbers alone and look at the history. Nobody who bets will want to put your money there because you know where it happened. The history of Park Kwesi Indum, the history of all these people tell you that it doesn't happen. In fact, the motto in this country is, you better together. Because Ghanaian voters are aspirational voters. And so now that's why, again, the data is saying, Musa Dako was making the point about the floating voters, or the voters, and even Ashanti. Again, the Park Kwesi Indum story and Alan's story also merged somewhere. When Park Kwesi Indum was leaving, the idea was that he would take the central region votes. that he was more popular in Central Region. And so this idea was that, and remember, Central Region is one of the floating regions of the country. So if you capture Central Region, you cause a lot of harm to both the NDC and the NPP. So the idea was that, he will capture the Central Region vote and become powerful. It never happened. A similar narrative will be forcefully fed, that if Alan leaves, he will capture the Ashanti region votes, denying the NPP serious oxygen in the region that they need. Again, you can see it. And as the data doesn't lie at all. The data, they also tell that it doesn't happen. And there's a reason. Voters like to think that the voters want their vote to count. The only way your vote can count is that that's why they look at candidates that they think are promising, candidates that I think can win. And so they can like you, they can be, they're like, can you win? Can this guy win? And that's why sometimes you see that sometimes even in poll letters, there's something called break. There can be a major break for a candidate when something happens and this now you cannot win. A similar thing happened between Trump and Hillary Clinton in the run-up to US elections, when Cuomo released that data that said that they are reinvestigating. That singular... Sorry, Comey, yes. That singular act made voters, especially floating voters,
October to remember.
October to remember. In fact, the October surprise is etched in the US electoral history. That incident made voters say, if this, because remember, there was a narrative that Hillary was crooked.
And she was hiding.
She was hiding things.
She was using the private emails.
Emails.
So the moment James Comey said, we've seen this, the voters bought it. And they didn't want to waste their vote. So the point, that's what you are beginning to see. So I'm saying that for this one, it's not just about history. It's not just about politics. It's about history. It's about data. And it's about what we call, if you look at it, it's a trend. If you do a trend analysis.
Well, you for the NPP, UP Plus, some have described as a direct threat to you. You say that you rather see the formation of this UP Plus as out of bitterness and not necessarily to win elections.
Yes.
Why?
Because, look, political history is important. But so many of the people voting today are not students of history. Even if they are students of history, they understand this. The UP Plus was, as I'm going to say, one of the most antagonistic to people of the CPP. So if you're an old school politician...
You mean the UP?
The UP. So if you're an old school politician and you still believe in this thing, you have a problem right there. The NDC tells you some of their roots come from Nkrumahist. So that's why there are so many Nkrumahist, they find themselves very comfortable. That's also because we are looking at the ideological divide in Ghana. And if it assumes left-right ideological platform in Ghana, the center-left is dominated by in fact, the NDC has cannibalized the CPP on the center-left. So if you're already a center-left politician and you have the NDC, you are not looking for another center-left. If you're looking at the center-right tradition in Ghana, the NPP occupies that position strongly. So there's no other. So if yours is an ideological argument, if yours is an ideological analysis, you are comfortable with the center-left, you have the NDC there. If yours is a center-right, you're comfortable, you have the NPP there. So on what basis? And that's the point I'm making, that the data keeps telling us, all over, the data keeps telling us that this does not happen. And it's data I'm talking about, just data and the history.
So, Solo, the diagnosis of Dr. Zato is that the formation of your party is out of bitterness, essentially, for the MPP. You don't want to win an election. You are just out there to get the MPP. But it says data shows that's not going to happen.
First of all, if I were to ask, or I was to ask Zato to define what bitterness is, it will be very difficult this month. He's just using word. Anyhow, there's bitterness. How is he going to define bitterness? He did join the MPP because...
As a university professor, this question.
What is the definition of bitterness?
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Let me give him 30 seconds.
Well, is bitterness a term of art?
That is what I want to understand.
Bitterness is because Alan has been thinking that he has been...
What is your definition?
Oh, I'm telling you in this context. He's thinking that was the heir apparent. He's the big man who has been there for all of a sudden. This small Pepe New Kramofor Akwadawe Abe Bitino. So he's like, how can me, this big Alan Chamenton, Alan Cash, sit down and allow this small...
So that's
that is the bitterness. That's the thing.
Bitterness.
And so he cannot come to that. That is what I mean by what? Bitterness and jealousy of the UP.
In the last primaries in Sisala East, where my brother took part.
I lost massively, yes.
I'm coming. Don't go there.
Okay.
This morning, I have time for everything.
Okay.
When he lost graciously, he stood before the people and said he had even left the MPP. Was it bitterness?
That's a lie.
Be a lie?
That's a lie.
How did you transition from your Sisala East to Nandom? Is it Nandom? Nandom is Upper West, right?
Okay.
Why did you transition from Sisala
What do you mean by
East to
transition?
Nandom?
No, tell me, what is
you
transition?
stopped even playing the politics of Sisala East to Nandom. Was it bitterness?
Okay, thank you.
So,
can I answer the question? No. I
okay.
hold it. You cannot ask me a question. You can't
Quick.
I have never been to anywhere to do politics apart from Sister Lace. You know what happened? In 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020, I wasn't in this country. I never registered to vote. I was in Canada.
If you like, I challenge you to open your phone lines and let the people of London call in.
Okay, hold on.
I'm telling you, I wasn't in this country.
Okay. Wait.
It's not an in-house thing. No, let me we don't know each other. We don't know each other. So let me explain. Thank you. So in 2008, 2012, 2016, and 2020, I wasn't in this country. I didn't register. Good. Then what happened is, when I came to contest the primaries,
Okay.
the argument was that people said somebody sent me. Yes, I'll tell you. People said that Honorable Ambrose Derry, who is my in-law, had sent me to come and contest in Salais to defeat somebody that he had a conflict with, Honorable Chinya. And so they told the people that there's a reason why, that's why I didn't come to vote into this decision. But they didn't tell the people that the reason I didn't vote in this thing is because I was not around. They told them that I was voting in Nandom. They told us, and I can tell you today, I'll put my PhD on the line. Solo, get the voters register from any of these constituencies, Nandom, and see whether you can see my name, Dr. Joshua Jebunte Zato, on it. If you see it, I will relinquish my PhD.
Thank you.
So you have confirmed that people associated with Nandom.
He's explained that.
It's sufficient enough.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. All right.
Now let me say that
Okay. No.
Let me say something.
Quick one.
Let me say
Quickly.
something, Mr. Host, please.
This, you know my name.
Mr. Ocansey.
You know
Mr.
my name.
Ocansey, Nene, Akofi, Alfred, please. This is key points. I'm saying this is key points.
Indeed.
So let us go by the rules as we have established here, as we have evolved over the years, of key points. It's not that kind of, let us stick to the issues. That's all I want to say.
So the
issues have
first
been
point
started.
is that our party was not formed based on any bitterness. We are a group of men and women that believes that this country has gotten to the point that we need another political party to win power, political power, to change the course of governance. This business of data is good, yes, but it's history. In election 2028, every political party will be starting from point zero. We will not say, or the Electoral Commission will not say that you have 55% in election 2024, and so that is where your starting point. We are all going to start from zero. When we formed the movement for change in 2023, mind you, Alfred, we are confusing issues. Mr. Alan Chemantin contested as an independent candidate,
Right.
not on the ticket of any political
party.
What it meant was that he did not have the benefit of parliamentary candidates in all the 275 constituencies who could have worked for him. He did not have constituency executive, polling station executive, regional executives, national executives as a vehicle that you could ride on to win more votes. And so you could be right. Mind you, the movement that we brought was movement for change. What were we looking for? We thought that the MPP was mismanaging this country. And so we needed to distance ourselves and fight for the change of this country. The people of this country accepted the idea of a change, but they said, look, it was not your time, so the NDC benefited from it. And the data is showing. When you are interpreting data, you have to find out why all of a sudden there was a huge drop in votes in the Ashanti region. That should give you an indication. Now, this idea that whether you like it or not, there is NDC and MPP cannot hold. Because you see, if we are to go into even the football arena, when we started our football in this country, the Ghana football, from the 1956, if you had asked anybody who had been following football from even the 70s and told the person that a time will come, Kotoko and Haas, you will not be finding them in the first two, nobody would have believed you. In today's Ghana, we play Premier League, and Kotoko and Haas struggles to even occupy the 4th and 5th position. Because of the same mindset that, oh, as for us, whatever you do, we will still win. And so they started doing anything anyhow. The UP has come with a strategy. Say organization decides everything. If our coming was not impactful or it was not going to have any impact, I'm not too sure you will have the MP for Wale Wale, Kabiru, go and sit on TV and say that they are already threatening a legal action against the name.
Well, they said that there's an attempt to dilute the history
dilution
of the NPP, and so they're going to court on the strength of Section 10 of the Political Parties Act.
We will meet them there, but I would be very surprised. I mean, we have lawyers, and we will meet them there. But the point is that, contrary to the view of Zato that it is going to have a zero effect, zero impact, zero everything, his own a member of his party, who is a member of parliament coming from Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's hometown, is already threatening. Though I have not heard any of the lawyers make that point, but he, as an economist, is saying that he's going to court. Why? Because his view is that we have touched the heart and soul of the MPP. That's number one. Number two, already their second vice chair is insulting Mr. Alanchimante, cursing him. That why has he gone for the soul of the party? As we speak, if you go to the Ashanti region, and I'm speaking on authority, that all those that were very much affiliated to the UP have said that their party has come.
They said their party
has come. They have been waiting for the UP all this while. So if you have Zato sitting down here and say that's going to have zero effect, I can only leave him to glorify in the very things that he believes in. We are very much focused. We are going to start grassroots mobilization, mobilize from the polling stations to the constituencies, to the region, to the national. Sell our message to them, the message of hope, unity, the message of transformation. Give it to the people of this country, and let's go into election 2028 and see the candidate they are bringing. In any case, I don't see how you can equate even the whole entire NPP to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. I don't think so. I don't think that those that are contesting will even be happy with you. So there is nothing of bitterness. It is pure political pluralism. We believe that Ghana needs more parties to, as it were, advance our democratic cause. And we are doing just that. And I believe that as he's wearing yellow today, which is our party color, maybe the way he's able to transform within a short space of time, he will join our political party and he will be welcomed.
Dr. Zad, you are expecting that Dr. Zado will join your party? The UP Plus.
If you saw how he insulted the people who voted against him during the last election, I wouldn't be surprised that he joined us.
On that path of the bitterness you referred to, I think it will be fair to have Dr. Zato retract that earlier.
Absolutely.
Description of I'm coming of what, in his view, bitterness is, and some words that were used to describe Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, which he says in his mind is the bitterness Alan is feeling. Dr. Zato,
I used words saying that I was him as a small boy penny. I withdraw those.
Perfect. Thank you. Martin Pebu, if anybody goes to court on the strength of Section 10 of the Political Parties Act on the use of a name, is one of the issues that is being brought against this UP Plus because of the name UP. Would it suffice?
Well, the jurisprudence is still evolving because there are not too many cases. But so far, based on the few cases that we've seen in Ghana, I doubt. Let's start with the last election. PNP, that's Nabile's party. Yeah, PNP was Liman's party in 1979, right? Yet, the EC didn't stop Nabile and Co. So the PNP is an offshoot from the PNC. So last year, they registered it as their own party, and nobody stopped them. So if the EC didn't stop the General Nabile and Co. from having PNP as their party, I doubt that the EC can stop the Alan Chiremante from using UP as as what do you call it? Party. Yeah, party name. Yeah,
Because
it's very difficult. Because there will be no logic. There will be no. Of course, I reckon that the life of the law is not logic. Okay, sometimes, but in this particular case, ordinary citizens will not accept it. That if PMP today, Janet Nabila and Co, they have their PMP, which was, we all know that PNC is an outgrowth of Liman's PMP in 1979. So why do we have PMP today alongside PNC? So if it exists, UP should also exist, right?
I see, because if you look at the dictates of Section 10, and I quote, no prospective political party shall submit to the Commission for the purpose of registration under this Act any identifying symbol, slogan, color, or name, which is the same as the symbol, slogan, color, or name of any other registered political party, or of the Republic, or which so closely resembles the symbol, slogan, color, name of a registered political party or the Republic as to be likely to deceive or confuse members of the public. The question is whether UP is still a registered political party.
I think the reasoning would have been different if, for instance, they have decided that they will call the political party PPN.
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 Right. Which would have
just been a reversal of MPP. So what this particular provision actually was to resolve is a situation where you want to mimic. And you notice that post the enactment of the Political Parties Act 2000, Act 574, the political parties that have been formed subsequently, the law does not allow you to reverse it. So I remember this conversation came out strongly when our founder, may his great soul rest in peace, Jerry Rawlings, when Mrs. Kunedu decided to set up her political party, that was the Democratic something.
NDP. National Democratic Party.
You see, we have NDC.
Yes.
And she wanted NDP. And so I remember vividly that it was a topical conversation that she crafted the name in that particular way, basically for the sole purposes of creating confusion in the minds of voters. And sometimes it is not only the name, even the symbol. Maybe the NDC has the eagle. The person can just bring the vulture.
On the umbrella.
On the umbrella. Just to create distortion, because again, whether you like it or not, we still have a large rural populace. The level of sophistication changes with the demographics. And it will interest you to note that even with all our sophistication and 32 years of doing this democratic experiment, we still have spot ballot papers in the region of almost 200,000, the last election, spot. You can imagine, with all the education that we have done, we still have people spoiling their ballot. Just a matter of just doing a thumbprint on a candidate. 200,000 of our people. And in fact, if you check the last election result, if you put all the minority political parties together and all the votes they obtained, spot ballot political party had more votes than them.
True. Absolutely.
You understand? The political party registered as spot ballots attracted more votes at the last election than the registered political parties who spent money campaigning. So what it tells you is that a little mimicking can have potential damaging thing. But that's significantly different
from this UP plus.
From the UP plus. Because in this case, there's no registered political party in Ghana today called UP. The only reference to UP is that sometime in our political history, we had a political grouping called the UP. Since 1992, we've never had any political party by name UP. Mm-hmm. And like we always say, in terms of the law, you cannot say you have that exclusive because in the past there was some association called UP. In any case, which one of the members of the MPP today completely were members of the UP at that time? Very few. Zato, I'm not sure. Not any one of us here. And so the suggestion, even remotely, that you can take charge of the UP as an intellectual property, quote unquote, of the MPP as constituted today is completely misleading and should not be encouraged. The Alan.
One of the other objectives is to break the duopoly between MPP and NDC.
I am not too certain of that intervention.
Why is that?
In the sense that, look, post-1992, and again, if you go to the United States of America, they have done this politics for 240-something years now.
Even Canada was
yes. The Republican-Democratic duopoly has survived. What it does not suggest that within this period, there have not been attempts by others to set up political vehicles. It has happened. Ross Perot and the rest tried. What became of them with the benefit of time? It is a matter.
I'll come to you.
Okay.
Council, I'm going to actually come to you for your substantive point on this. Just conclude.
So the point I want to make on this issue is that I have a great deal of respect for my learned senior, Alan Kwejo Chemantin. Great deal of respect. I think when he became a lawyer, I was barely 2 years. And that's the level of respect I have for him. In terms of what he has done for himself as an individual, it's a matter of public record. Let me put on record. At the time, Mr. Alan Kwejo Chemantin, as the president of the Young Executive Forum, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia was a member of the NDC. At least by way of association with his father.
By way of association.
With his father and mother.
And mother.
And mother.
Okay.
Because at that time, his father was the chair
of the NDC.
Of J. Rawlins's Council of State. That shows his strong attachment to the NDC.
You mean Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia?
Yes. And I want to believe that if we were looking at young politicians in those days, that possibly the NDC had eyes on, up-and-coming technocrats, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia would have fallen among that. Especially so when Dr. Kwabena Dufo, then as deputy governor in charge of HR and administration of BOG, brought him into the Bank of Ghana, right? And his transition subsequently as deputy governor under President Kufuor to assist Paul Akwa, and the fact that if you read Arthur Kennedy's book, Chasing the Elephant into the Bush, The Politics of Complacency, Arthur Kennedy takes us through what was happening, because at that time he was the communication head for candidate Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. And he makes the point that Nana Addo's choice of running mate for the 2008 election was Haji Alima. It was when there was resistance from Haji Alima, then the idea was, okay, let's look for a different person. One, Boniface was suggested. Nana said no. Boniface was
the current chairman, national chairman of UPP.
Yes, was suggested. Then Nana said, look, Boniface was too close to Alan. Many other names came. In fact, I remember the Lepora, the late Alaji Jawula.
MND Jaola, yes.
And many others whose name came up at that tail end. Finally, if you read Arthur Kennedy's account, Ken Ofori-Atta strongly pushed for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia's candidature for the running mate position. And that is what. And in fact, at one point, when he named Bawumia, Buzia's sister, Ama Buzia, in Arthur Kennedy's account, makes the point that when Bawumia's name was suggested, Buzia's sister said no, and that it would be a betrayal of his brother, Prime Minister Buzia, because I don't know what happened between Mumuni Bawumia and Buzia. Yeah. I think there was what appeared to be a betrayal in terms of the politics, and said, look, she will not permit that. And Ken Ofori-Atta is recorded to have remarked that every name Nana comes with, you have an issue with it. What is it? Finally, the key issue then was that Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia was not a card-bearing member of the MPP. At that point, the MPP constitution stated clearly that to be the running mate, you should be a member 5 years in good standing. A disqualification that Bawumia had at that point. So, a National Executive Committee meeting happened at Alisa Hotel, where President Kufuor, Kwabena J.J. and co were in the meeting. At that time, the General Secretary was Nana Ohinto. So that was when it was then suggested that, okay, he should be given a special dispensation. So the MPP constitution had to be more or less relaxed in order for Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia to be given that waiver to permit him to partner with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo for the 2028 election. I mean, today, Providence and others have helped him. He's gotten that enviable position of becoming the presidential candidate of the New Patriotic Party. That is what life and the chances associated with life can give.
Okay.
But, like we say, those whose kennels have been cracked for them by benevolent spirits must also demonstrate some level of magnanimity among others. I see persons associated with Dr. Bawumia often tout Alan Kwejo Tremantin. It is not a question of bitterness. I do not think it's a question of bitterness. It's also a question of service.
Okay.
Because at a very critical stage of the life of the New Patriotic Party, that there was a man called Alan Empretech.
Yeah.
He used the Empretech platform.
While you round up for me.
Yes, to build young entrepreneurs who today are doing extremely well in diverse areas of life in the MPP, what we call today the New Patriotic Party. So therefore, when you have, life, make it better for you against others, I don't think it's a question of bitterness. I just believe that it is life and all the issues, forces have worked in your favor. So on this note, I just want to believe that Alan is well placed. He has, served this country well in diverse ways. Ambassador to U.S., Minister for Trade, and done all kinds of services to this republic. It is within his right to form a political party and name it with any other name. The only thing that he's not permitted to do is to name it along religious, tribal, and the other lines.
I think the position of
UP had come. But my challenge is that if UP is coming out of MPP, then what we have now, UP, United Party, then what we have left is a divided party.
Well,
Exactly. And then we have which is the divided party.
Thank you. No,
small-
Very well.
Hold on. I want you to make the point because no.
UPNDP.
Brother Jafo, I'll come to you now. No. You let's.
The MPP is now deep.
Thank you. You brought some order to it. Thank you. Now, but you look at the candidate. Gentlemen, thank you very much. Edudzi Tamaklo ended on the person of Alan Kyerematen as against the decision to come on the ticket of a different political party than the NPP. Musa Dankwa referenced that, and Solo also make the point about the umbrella or the kind of candidature Alan Kyerematen was going into the 2024 election. It was an independent candidate. He didn't even go on the ticket of the Movement for Change. Can that really change now that he is coming under the umbrella of a political party? Looking at the person of Alan Kyerematen and whether he's going to pose a threat to the NPP and the NDC, because that's one of the objectives, to break the duopoly of the two parties.
Yes, so you're asking, can it change?
Yes.
Yes, in principle, yes. In principle, yes, because you see, there is this thing about human nature, right? There comes a time, human nature loves this variety. You can't run away from it. Like, earlier when I was saying that, you remember last year, I was always doing the smoke, but when you read the social media comment, oh, people, we are tired of the smoke, So we had to now go and look for a jacket and come here. So one thing is very clear, right? That within the next 20 years, this duopoly will break.
20 years?
Yeah, within the next 20 years.
Not the next.
And 2032 would be in my sense of it, reading, talking to other professionals, they feel like, no, we also should come together and then make a go at it. Because, you see, look, let's speak bluntly. I mean, the politicians we've had, is there any extra skill? Any extra abilities? No. You see how Akufo-Addo had been touted as the angel, the best that we're yet to get. When he came, you see how he turned out to be the worst. So it is top professionals, the middle class, that, look, this thing is not really that difficult. Actually, it's about personal character, right? Mm-hmm. And so a lot of the people in the middle class, I talk to lawyers, accountants, etc. They feel like, no, in the not too distant future, they're also going to step up, and then something would happen. Mm-hmm. Let's not forget, in the past, TUC tried it in the 70s. So the TUC tried it, but that's 70s, over 50 years ago.
Yes.
The fact that it didn't work doesn't mean that it will not work tomorrow. So the key thing is that as we evolve, as the economy gets better and people get jobs, you see, the whole thing is hinged on economic freedom. Right now there are no jobs. So we have a huge patronage system. So you meet people who in private, the kind of things they will tell you, they can't say that in public because they are scared. Job security. So if you're in the government sector, you don't want to be seen entertaining such thoughts. Mm-hmm. So it's only those of us in the private sector who can speak freely. So I see that, look, the moment you see the economy making progress, that there is a huge job mobility. You can move from one job to the other. So there's that economic freedom. Our politics will be different. Because you just asked. So let's say, for example, Edudzi and I are here. We are both lawyers, right? So typically, I'm not sure that Edudzi has done something at the bar that is so puts him well ahead of every lawyer he came to meet. No. That today we would say, no, Edudzi should lead us. No, there isn't anything like that. So we are looking at the skill set. So the more we look at the politicians, those of us in the middle class and private sector, then the more we see that they're just like us. But the difference is that they've joined the party. And usually, especially when it comes to elections, etc., you look at it and say that, look, I don't want to risk the vote by giving it to Alan Kyerematen. Don't risk. So you see, 2024, I'm happy Musa Dankwa repeated it, was an exceptional situation because we're just hell-bent on making sure that the MPP doesn't come back again. So don't risk giving your vote to Alan, etc. I'm telling you that 2028, Alan will do better. Oh, that one is certain. He will do better because it's almost a given that NDC will not get the votes that they got, that gap. They won't get it in 2028. It's a given.
So it's a given?
It's a given.
Based on what indicators?
Because, you see, it's human nature. As I say, in 2024, we wanted to make sure that, look, NPP doesn't come back. So everybody said, look, let's give it to NDC. It was an exceptional circumstance because Akufo-Addo's governance was so stinkingly bad. Stinkingly bad. The lawyer who was said to have prepared for 40 years came and delivered such an abysmal performance and was ably supported by Bawumia. So you see why Bawumia will never be a president of Ghana. That won't happen.
How do you make such an emphatic statement?
Bawumia doesn't have the skill set to be president of Ghana.
Based on your verdict. Based on your verdict. Hold on. No, gentlemen, hold on. See, wait, gentlemen, you see,
it's in your interest to allow it to pass.
Exactly.
The more you interject, you give them the opportunity to hammer on it.
Thank you.
That's not in your interest.
Hold on.
You know?
Yeah.
Please.
So
that's the person's view.
So one thing is very clear that the theory about variety, okay? And as we've seen that, when it comes to politics, it's actually about character. So more people in the middle class see that they have character, right? It's character because now certain things are a given. When it comes to university degree, all those, there are certain constants. So I'm talking about the things that set us apart. So you meet more professionals and they see that, this level of governance, I think I have enough character to be able to help Ghana. So something is going to give. Something will shift. That one is clear. And especially of the Gen Zs not being tied to tribal lines, etc.
Yeah.
So we haven't seen our politics evolve fully yet. Even America itself. So we come to the point, where I wanted to interject. America has not always been the Republicans and the Democrats. No. In actual fact, you see, this first name, when Jefferson, the third president, formed the Democratic Party, it was actually Democratic Republican. It was a joint name belonging to the Democrat, Democratic Republican. You can Google it and see how it turns out. And in their history, other parties have come and won the election. So you hear about the Whigs. Yeah, the Whigs were very popular in the US and the UK and other people. You see, so it's not a given that MPP, NDC will survive. No, actually it won't happen. It's not in human nature to continue MPP, NDC. No, yes, Dr. Zato said it. Center left, center right. Yes, main ideologies. But the constant thing in human nature is change.
Change is constant.
Change is constant. So that time will come where we would want to change, have something else. And that's why I'm thinking that it's good Alan is starting now. Where he stands the better chance will be 2032. Let him, except that age.
But that would go contrary to your position about age.
Age, yes. So the party thing. So then it's good Solomon is behind the younger ones. Alan may try it in 2028. He won't get it. But by 2032, Alan's party, Cheddar's party, Kwame Bediako, yeah, that's the future. With the Gen Z's coming, some of us will be supporting because, like I've said, the key things that you look at, Eduje and I are lawyers. So you look at Eduje, then I look, is this some divine thing? No, a point will come, we'll throw in our hats. Because we look at it and we see that, no, we can also do it. You meet a lot of lawyers and they're like, it's a question of time. So just mark it. Anybody who tells you that it will always be NDC, NPP has not studied history enough. Just Google the US, Google the UK. You would see that it will come to a time we will be tired. So we just say, look, you know what? I mean, come on. It's the same thing. We are all human beings. We are looking at character. So the character you have, there are other people who also have it, but they are not in the NDC, they are not in the NPP. So let's try the middle. CSOs, etc., will come together, and then it will be a new
rise.
So that one
of the kind of third force that you talk about.
So the third force, that one is given that someday it will ripen into something. That definitely. Anybody who tells you that third force will never ripen has not studied history enough.
Perfect.
No.
Professor Ramsford Jampo, you see, and it's interesting how you make an emphatic statement and the verdict on the political future of some of the persons we are talking about today. and Alan Chamanting to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia that 2028 is out for them.
Yeah.
Well, Solo and Dr. Zato will not agree with you, but you see,
will make you
Professor Jampo,
our running mate.
he'll be your running mate.
If you don't stand, let's look at 2032.
Yeah,
I see. He'll be your running mate.
Chat today.
Interesting. For example, you see, Musa laid the foundation about how things looked like in 2024, but then was very quick to underscore the fact that things look different this time around. We cannot look at Alan Chamanting as the same person going into 2028. Does he have that mettle to break the duopoly, or he's a spent shell, as some have described him?
Well, if you're looking at what is happening in our political history, it will be an erroneous judgment to describe Alan as somebody who is a spent force. First of all, let us know. In political science, when we say something is a tradition, it means it is a custom, a belief, or a practice that has been handed down from one generation to another over a significant period of time. So the practices and happenings in our Fourth Republic cannot be described as a tradition, yet, because the history of our Fourth Republic is still evolving. We have had a hung parliament before, which never used to be the case. And for the first time in our political history, we have a ruling party that has 2/3 majority in parliament. It has never happened before.
Yeah.
Now, none of the attempted third force leaders, in my view, have the kind of qualities, persona, and pedigree of Alan. And so, in my view, he therefore cannot be relegated to the background. If things work hard, if he works hard,
in your view?
In my view, if he works hard, he can make serious incursion into future elections. The poor performance of third force people cannot be described, like I said, as a political tradition.
Perfect.
Because things are evolving, and if this man succeeds in taking a chunk of votes from the Ashanti region, and if he succeeds in bringing back the disgruntled MPP people who believe that the party has deviated from its core UP tradition, he will be a force to reckon with in future elections. Let it never be said that Alan was not even popular in his own party. People who say so don't know, they either don't know what happened in their own party, or they are deliberately being oblivious of some of the things that have happened. Okay? I know what I'm talking about. Listen, when Edu Buahene failed to win elections, the elections of 1992, do you know that Alan was then the head of the Young Executive Forum? And do you know that he was the one who was actually proposed, not even J. Kufuor, he was the one who was actually proposed by those who were actually funding the party, the Young Executive Forum. They proposed him to take over from Edu Buahene. And when he was reluctant about it, he faced the wrath of the funders of the party. Around that time, Kufuor had not even been considered. Okay, so now look at the trajectory. Look at how he's come, how far he's come.
Yeah.
He gave in to Kufuor. Afterwards, he contested with President Akufo-Addo. And after Akufo-Addo, we saw how he contested also with
These are the 2007 primaries.
Yes.
Strong showing.
Yes.
So
yes.
that buttresses the point you're making.
So he's not an infant. And let me say this. People don't know, but I know what I'm talking about. In the lead up, the MPP itself has got its own tradition. How leaders or successors are selected. Okay? How successors are selected. They have it. It appears that this time around they decided to deviate, from that that succession, practice that they have over the years, resorted to. But the point is this: people don't know the Alan. Let me put it this way: Alan was very, very, very popular among the top echelons and even the grassroots of the party in the lead up to their own primaries, the first one and the second one. The first one was to sieve the numbers to 5 and then bring it. It was very, very popular. But people do not know what happened, the day before the primaries that sieved the number to 5. I know what
something happened.
Yeah, a lot of things happened. That's how I'll put it. And let me conclude briefly on that by saying that the day we will be able to address treating, the day we'll be able to address election resource purchases, the day we'll be able to address what is popularly described as monetization or monocracy in our electoral politics, we'll be able to appreciate who rightly is the preferred choice or who the people who are election makers really like to lead. But so long as we continue to grapple with the issues of monocracy, the choice of the people would always be difficult to be ascertained. Because you can see clearly that this is the choice of the people, but last minute, things happen and things can change. And I am so worried that we are on a certain tangent in our democratic practice, such that if you have money, you should be able to do anything. You should be able to win elections. And democracy that is about the choice of the people, democracy that talks about the expression of the sovereign will, appears to now be for sale to the highest bidder. And it is unfortunate. But moving away from that, let me make the point again that I've seen what Musa Dankwa has done, how he thinks that Alan will fare. But I want to make the point that, look, it will be an error in judgment for anybody.
This is history. It's not a reflection of the current. This is just what happened in 2024.
2024.
Yes,
okay.
As you see it.
Yeah, okay. So, but it will be an error of judgment on the part of anybody to say that, look, we should not give, an attempted third force seeker a dog chance. Because, like I said, things are evolving. And the fact that over the years, people who wanted to lead as third force have performed abysmally cannot mean or does not mean that things cannot change. Because for the first time, we had a hung parliament. For the first time, we have a ruling party that is dominating parliament with 2/3 majority. It tells you that we are still evolving. And like Martin said, people have now grown to appreciate the fact that the conduct of politics and people who seek to... It is not a big deal when you see people who are parading themselves as our leaders. They are also human beings, and sometimes there are people who have not joined politics who are better qualified than people who are joining politics and people who are seeking to lead. And so gradually, if you speak to people, people are thinking that, so why don't we all also join to help improve the lot, of our people? So it cannot be said that we should be relegating some people to the background simply because of our duopoly. I mean, with time, if things are changing, with time, you'll be seeing some of these third forces also springing up. And then, like Martin,
Alfred, maybe just a quick, just 30 seconds. Please.
Quickly.
You see, I didn't do political science. He's a professor in that field. I think we should clarify a few things. You can have a third force. There's no question. But we should also appreciate that politics is also a function of time and moment. And so it is easier to have a situation where somebody emerges out of the moment for a cause than a grouping to emerge suddenly. So it was unthinkable within a certain period to look at an Obama emerging within the democratic space, within that space. But it was just a question of moment. Then there was an Obama, and then there was a phenomenon, and then it fizzled. You understand? So you can have UP coming in. The only thing significant really is that it reminds us, and maybe we should also find out why did we have a UP in the past?
Okay.
And whether it is politically relevant today that we can have something coming out of the divided party.
Okay.
I think
All right.
that's important.
so I
Gentlemen, hold on. No. I'll give you. All right. So here's how this is going to end.
Yes.
You would cap it all up because I started from
Fantastic.
All right. So just to conclude, I mean, I don't have much to say on this particular issue. Just to make the point, emphasize the point that it will be judgment error for anybody to think that we would not ever have a potent third force that can upset the duopolistic practice, within our fourth republic, kind of democratic practice. Things are evolving, and so you'll be living in a fool's paradise if you think that, it's always NDC, MPP. And like Martin said, no ruling party maintains its goodwill in perpetuity. You may have all the goodwill like the NDC has now, but in the next election, okay, if it was 100%, you are sure that it would reduce to about 90%. Okay, and in the reduction, people may be thinking about the other parties. Okay, as for the MPP and their chances in the next elections, I mean, I think it's been discussed. If I were them, okay, would spend much time restructuring and repositioning yourself. But it appears that they've gone beyond advice. So nowadays, we don't even want to publicly advise them. We leave them on their own and let's see. But we pray that we are able to strengthen our political parties such that we would give true meaning to multi-party democratic practice as enshrined in our constitution. Okay, in political science, when we say that a country is a multi-party democracy, it means that you have more than two political parties of more or less equal strength, such that in any major electoral contestation, it becomes difficult for one party to win an election with clear majority without the support of other parties. But it appears that in our part of the world, since 1992, even though we have had so many political parties, we are not like Mali that has at one point in time had 1 or 4 political parties. Even though we've had many political parties, essentially or practically, we are becoming more and more of a two-party state, such that one party can win elections without the support of the other parties. And I'm praying that we should strengthen our political parties and encourage third forces to also to be emerging so that we can give true meaning to multi-party democratic practice, said that NDC should not be able to win convincingly without appealing to the other parties. MPP, should not be able to win an election without.
Into a coalition.
Thank you.
Well, but that is what happens in multi-party democratic. That is what happens in multi-party democratic.
Democracies.
Practices, so that we are sure that you don't have people just going to form political parties just for the fun of it. People form political parties not just because of the ultimate objective of capturing political power, but because of other frivolous, reasons,
which we have seen in the past. And some parties spring up only when we are going into elections. Mr. Nankwa, finally, you say this fortune will change. All things being equal, based on what you're looking at, because the dynamics are different. MPP is in a position now. Yeah. You have Alan Chimantin coming under the umbrella of a party.
Yes.
Now,
look, we did some survey in April, asking people who they intended to vote for in the election and how they actually voted. You could see that what happened, and indeed that was why Mahama got that landslide, was that
this one.
Yes. About 53% were going to vote for John Mahama initially, and 39 for Mahmoud Bawumia, and 8 for the other parties, including Alan Chimantin. But on the election day, what happened? Mahama got 59%. So Bawumia lost technically about 3% of his people to Mahama. And those who were voting for the other parties dropped by another 3%. We could see that there were slightly last-minute change in people's mind on the election day. Now, if the desire was not to get rid of MPP, we wouldn't have seen what we saw in the last election.
Perfect. That's why we activated the body count.
Okay, thank you. So I'll give you the last word on this. And all the comments that have been made. Thank you very much. Thank you. Hold on.
The memory of a great comrade, Dr. Alfred Ocansey.
Indeed. That's fair.
Activated the body count.
That's
The
fair.
MPP saw it as good.
All the comments that have been made, some for others analyzing critically the person of Alan Chimantin and whether things are going to change. And how are the coming days going to look like for you based on what you have heard?
Let me say that we are discussing the United Party. Alan is not the United Party. Alan is part of the United Party. In fact, he's the leader of the United Party. It's a democratic party that will go through elections if in the coming days, any of us sitting here would want to join the UP and even contest Alan is welcomed. I mean, wouldn't it be nice if Martin is contesting Alan for the flag bearership position? So it is about the United Party.
I will campaign for you. You're not contesting.
What is going to happen is that, or what has led most parties that come fresh not succeed, is that they come without any strategy. Organizational structure. Organization decides everything. We have thought through this carefully. And I can tell you that in the coming days, you will be seeing the United Party in your constituency. You will be having your executives there. You would hear us more visibly. Alfred, you would agree with me that ever since election 2024 was over, you can find communicators of the movement for change on every platform. That's against all the other political parties, with the exception of the MPP and NDC that contested the election. Has it crossed your mind? We are following a particular script. And that is how come you see us always and always on all platforms, not just in Accra, across the entire region. We mean business. So people must not be quick to write us off. We know the perception, the mindset. That's why I use the football analogy. I told you that it used to be Kotoko and Haas. Now it's no more, to the extent that any football club can even come today and win the league. The Ghanaian population or the voters are becoming very complicated and very delicate. Because what they are looking for, the teaming you, the Gen Zs, they don't care about your history. They don't care about whether I was born into the MPP or NDC. All that they care for is about whether or not after finishing school, they will get jobs. That is what is at play. So I want to assure every Ghanaian that come election 2028, number one, you will find the UP on the ballot. Number two, you will have parliamentary candidates in all the 276 constituencies. Number three, you have our polling station agents. One thing I didn't tell you about election 2024 was the fact that 95% of all the agents that Mr. Alan Chimantin assigned to the polling stations were denied access to the polling stations. We have a classical access. We have a classical example of someone that traveled from the United Kingdom, and the man is here, to Cape Coast to cast his vote. The very polling station he voted, Alan got 0. Then in the coming days, we are going to do some levels of expose.
It was because of the cameras.
Hold on.
It was because they activated the cameras.
The person, he flew to Ghana purposely to come and vote for Alan Tremantin. He voted for Alan after the election. The man got 0. And you know what? Before the election, did you hear the MPP say that Alan was going to place a third to Cheddar?
Yes.
So all their concentrations was focused on the on Alan, but it is going to be a totally different ball game altogether in 2028. We are going to go all out. We were there when we were part of the building of the MPP. At least I was there when TESCOM was formed. We built TESCOM to the levels that became attractive. We are going to use the rest of our energies, all the team members in there, to build a vibrant and a robust political party called the United Party. After all, the MPP says the UP is their tradition. So if you are a subset and the USR set is there, you must as well better join them and let's build a better Ghana.
I see. Thank you. Quick one, because he's going to leave us.
On this same analysis.
Yes.
Now, in your much earlier analysis, you made the point that on D-Day, the election day, there was something that happened in the moment that switched a certain votes that were meant for Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia and a sudden
3%.
switch. That 3% is a very significant number.
Yes.
I want to find out, was it a question of messaging or it was a personality and a trust issue? Because that is key. If it's a trust issue, then you need to find out how to sustain that trust. If it's a question of messaging, you need to find out how to fulfill that. Because these two are very significant, or it should be paid for.
Okay.
Absolutely, I was going to say.
It should be paid
There's
for.
no one that comes for free.
Yes, I just wanted to add something. At the launch of the party, you said that the NPP is now Nana People's Party, but you did not define Nana People's Party. I defined Nana People's Party as the people Nana appointed into positions. And Alan Tremantin was one of the people Nana appointed for 6 years. So technically, Alan is in Nana people. Nana is Alan people. Alan is the Nana person.
You've asked
At
a
the
question.
formation of this political tradition called MPP in 1992, Dr. Alhaji Mahmoud Bawumia was 28 years. He never joined the MPP. He was a member of the NDC by attachment. As of 2007, he was not part of the MPP. 2008, he became the running mate of the MPP by virtue of the fact that Nana Akufo-Addo single-handedly appointed him and brought him into the party. From there, he skewed and schemed everything, shut everybody's mouth, made sure that if you had a contrary view, you were sacked from the party, and brought in only people that were aligned to the MPP, to Bawumia, including Dr. Zato. And so, if I talk about Nana People's Party, it's about these current group of people. They did not have any clue about the MPP. They only became MPP by virtue of the fact that Nana Akufo-Addo became the flag bearer and president and hated Alan Tremantin so much.
That he appointed him.
He hated Alan Tremantin so much.
So why did he appoint him?
And let me tell you something. When he gave him the Minister of Trade and Industry for the first time in our history, agencies that were under Alan, one day we had that discussion. He took it all from him.
Agencies and
Agencies. He created special initiative and gave it to Howard Kumsin. The one district, one factory. The MPP's manifesto that Alan wrote the trade portion of it. That he brought in the idea of one district, one factory. Nana Akufo-Addo created an office and took it to the presidency.
With right
and took it there.
And he did not. And based on all this, he did not resign. He did not resign. He still did not resign.
No.
Based on all this, he still did not resign. He still stayed.
All the agencies under the Ministry of Trade and Industry, Allah was, I sent someone there. By the time he gets there, Nana Akufo-Addo has sent his representative there. Was he working with Allah?
So I think it's a fair question to ask that.
Yes.
In the midst of all this, why did he still stay? Why didn't he resign?
Alan has. First of all,
Okay, hold on.
it was a question of.
Hold on. Thank you. Hold on.
It was a question of serving Ghana and also a political decision.
Hold on.
If Alan had left the administration, it had political consequences and ramifications. Alan stayed, believed that in spite of all this, he could still prevail. And that was how come, in spite of the fact that he later on went for the 1D1 district, he was only given a budget of 400 million, whereas the bogus NAPCO that was for top, they gave Alhaji Bawumia and his people close to 4 billion Ghana cedis just to go and share among themselves. So this is what we are talking about. Okay. To be able to leverage on his credibility to woo the private sector banks to invest in the 1D1F and then establish close to 296 factories at various stages of completion. That is the man we are talking about.
Quite a number of your messages. I'll just read it because we're going to go into the next issue. Mr. Dankwa, appreciate you coming. As always, it's been a standing ovation for you over the period.
Thank you.
And we thank you.
But listen to the advice that the DG has given to you. Give time for governance.
2 years, let's govern.
No, don't do that.
And then
Don't do that.
after
It's
that, after that,
we need the polls. We need the polling.
the polling
Keep telling us.
on
Tell us.
NDC.
Chairman is on the
But you
campaign
let
talk.
govern.
Chairman is on thank you talk.
Thank you very much. None of you is being heard. Actually.
But next time I beg you, poll the vice president.
Thank you. This one here says, good morning.
Well, look at this.
Khalil from Wa. Now the elephant has genetically modified into a fully fledged butterfly, and it will worry the original elephant because of the happenings in the MPP. It says it's a party to watch. You say the UP. This one here, it says Janet Nabile's PNP broke away from the PNC, making it the second after APC. So that's just to make the point about the PNC having two offsprings, essentially. This one also here says, good morning. Small introduction, and they are accusing each other of not picking their calls. It says there's something we don't know. This one here says, the formation of UP by Alan is not and will not be a problem for the NDC, but rather the MPP. UP will even become the second force if the MPP fails to elect, in your view, Kennedy Japan. That's what you say. That's PHK. Thank you. This one here says, okay, Musa Abatwa in Aswase. Dr. Zato's analysis is unfounded. Commendations to Alan Chemanting for his bold and visionary decision to establish a formidable political party capable of competing within Ghana's evolving democracy. This one here says, Nanayao says, can the UP, I'm sorry, you're talking about Solo, can he mention a single country that has more than two parties that change power amongst themselves? Even in football, how many decades did it take Kotoko and Hash to drop? Let's discuss, you say, important match from that perspective. You say.
Thank you. The US, four parties, different.
This one here says that, it says, good morning. This is from Kwame Esiam. It says, I have been in this country long enough to know that there are some persons who made emphatic statement that some people will never become president. And we were in this country and they became president. Please remind Martin Pebu that in his statement today that Mahmoud Bawumia will never become president. One day I will refer him to this statement if he eventually becomes president.
Association. That one is also a president.
It says, I'll remind him of this statement if Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia eventually becomes president. You say, thank you very much. And that's why I'm saying clearly that is his view. You see, this one also here, in fact, let me first of all state, I can't read all of your messages. I have almost 1,000 of them. So we would have to move on to the next issue. But this one here says, I heard Mr. Owusu Solomon talk about NAPCO and a huge amount of money that was allocated to Dr. Bawumia to manage the scheme. Mr. Ocansey, I think the NAPCO scheme should be investigated. Absolutely. Probe because despite all this huge money, trainees were never paid for their 9 months arrears. This is coming from Nana Techi, who is the former NAPCO head of public relations. So he's just making the point that he says he must be probed, in your view.
An independent candidate won an election.
Okay.
Yes.
Right. So
and
thank
in
you.
the UK now, you know the reform.
Yes, there's a lot that's happening.
By stretch.
That's why I think it all comes back to the point that there's an evolution.
It's an issue of moment.
True.
Yes. A person can advocate a cause and suddenly become the most topical issue.
True. So that just goes to buttress the point we've all made at this point. Dankwa, thank you so much for coming. Earlier, yesterday, we got information of the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Saki Tokonom filing yet another application at the High Court, essentially a judicial review. In fact, this is the 8th application since the entire process of her removal began. But let's recall her position about this entire removal process right from the get-go. And this application goes to buttress the points that she made at the press conference that she addressed during the process of her removal, essentially regurgitating some of the issues. But she raises a number of questions about the entire process of her removal in this latest application, questioning the locus and the decision of this committee that was established and the basis for her removal, essentially. This is the former Chief Justice during that press conference earlier. Take a look.
Unfortunately, every step of the removal process being undertaken against me is being done in a manner that breaks every rule on how justice is delivered in our country. And this is why I find the need to draw the nation's attention to the serious violations of the Constitution and law in the process, and the danger it holds for the development of the nation's democracy. Unfortunately, every step of the removal process being undertaken against me is being done in a manner that breaks every rule on how justice is delivered in our country. And this is why I find the need to draw the nation's attention to the serious violations of the Constitution and law in the process, and the danger it holds for the development of the nation's democracy.
That's the former Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Isaba Saki Tokonom there. And as I indicated, this is the 8th and the count of the number of applications since the entire process began. First, from the 21st of May, that writ of summons at the Supreme Court, which is actually yet to be determined. There are a number of the applications that are still active and yet to be determined. The 21st of May, the two, one is yet to be determined. We'll put that on the screen. The other was unanimously dismissed as the case progressed. We also had that one on the 9th of June, 2025. This judicial review at the High Court. In fact, this follows in the same fashion of what we have now. We're going to put this on the screen right now. It also follows on the path of this judicial review, this latest application as we have it. There's also the July 4, 2025. This is a case that is still active. In fact, at the ECOWAS Community Court, this is a case that is yet to be finalized. It's still an active application. We saw another judicial review that sought the reliefs against the Shining Stars of Ghana, essentially questioning the legality or the legal existence of these Shining Stars, one of 3 petitioners against her. And then this latest one that we are seeing now. And these are some of the grounds that she is grounding her argument on. That the first finding against her about the misappropriation of the said funds is false, misleading, irrational, and illegal, because it cites misconduct for expenditure that was neither disallowed nor surcharged by the Auditor General. To the extent that the Auditor General did not raise queries about this, in her view, it's irrational and illegal for you to even use that as a basis for her removal. Also, that this same first finding of misappropriation is also unreasonable and unfair because it attributes unauthorized expenditure to the Chief Justice, though she neither authorized nor administered it. So she's not a spending officer. The second finding is an abuse of power and unconstitutional as it wrongly treats the Chief Justice's lawful administrative duty, and this has to do with the transfer of judges. Under Article 1254, including the transfer of judges and officers as misconduct. He says, the third finding is an abuse of power and unconstitutional as it mischaracterizes the Chief Justice's legitimate role under Article 1254 and established conventions in judicial administration as misconduct. And in fact, it says it's also unlawful, challenges the Chief Justice's conventional role shared with the Ghana Bar Association Attorney General in recommending the promotion of judges. This is the position of the former Chief Justice and what she is seeking in this particular relief, the latest. I start this path with Godwin Eduji Tamaklo because this is not the first time we're having to lay a matter of a judicial review by the former Chief Justice. There are some who hold the view that this continuous application is an abuse of the court process. Others are of the view that, look, to the extent that this is unprecedented, all these applications must be allowed so as to tick all the boxes, bring clarity, form a strong precedence so that we'll see how the days and years ahead will look like. Before you answer that, let me acknowledge Bracco Powers is a private legal practitioner as well joining us. So Powers, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Okay.
Perfect.
Okay. I'm not surprised that now removed Chief Justice Gertrude Araba Saki Tokono had decided to file this judicial review application. I'm not surprised at all.
Why doesn't it surprise you?
The reason is simple. You see, Alfred, as young as I am, there are certain things that when you are advised and you decide to do otherwise, it goes against you. Look, in the midst of these petitions, two prominent Ghanaians said, look, if the Chief Justice wants to resign, she should be permitted to resign. I recall vividly, the argument was made. The Constitution says, and the Supreme Court has clarified the issue, that once an Article 146 process has commenced, you do not have the option of resigning. At that time, there was a strong push that, hey, Justice Tokono had worked High Court, Court of Appeal to Supreme Court. And therefore, that matter, for her service to this republic, she should be permitted to resign and take her emolument. So she can go. At least when she resigns, she is entitled to her benefits. Just when they were waiting for that, from nowhere, she decided to do a judicial process, somersault. I think today, she's come to the realization that she ought to have resigned instead of allowing the process to go through.
You said that was not on the table.
Please, I know, and for this privileged information, I cannot even name the people.
Amalaba also came and said it.
Look, two prominent people.
And we supported it here. Remember, you were the
I was opposed to it. You said, look,
yes.
It should be allowed, even though the Supreme Court, because what had happened was that there was a High Court judge who Article 146 process had started against him. Yeah. Then President Mills was in the process of putting the committee together. The CJ then, Georgina Wood, started the process. Then the judge, knowing that if that Article 146 committee concludes its work, He stand the risk of losing his entitlement, quickly tendered in his resignation. So the question was whether President Mills was bound to accept the resignation. And the Supreme Court interpreted the matter and said, once an Article 146 process had commenced, there is no option. If not, you defeat the very purpose of Article 146. But you see, we are back to this point because her ladyship, the Chief Justice, now removed. Options are completely gone. Completely gone. The options are gone. Let's look at the legal issues now. I've gone through the judicial review processes and the attachment. I spent yesterday reading through it. Now, if you look at the grounds of the judicial review, and if you look at the things and the reliefs that she is seeking, you come to one irresistible conclusion. An appeal of the Poiman-led committee and its work disguised as a judicial review.
It's appealing.
It's an appeal, but disguised as a judicial review application. But you see, as lawyers, we have the skill set to uncover and to unwrap these wraps that she had put on the processes. Because essentially what she's saying is that the Poiman-led committee had done its work, but I disagree with their findings and the conclusions reached and their recommendations. And for that matter, I want a high court to have a second bite. That is not allowed by law.
After she has been removed.
Yes. That is not allowed by law. And the reason is simple. In the wisdom of the framers of the 1992 Constitution, they didn't want an Article 146 proceedings to be appealable. And so when they were creating the Constitution, what they did was that when it's a commission of inquiry under Article 284, you are permitted to appeal. So it says that a person dissatisfied with the findings of a commission of inquiry, like Brazil, Ghana at 50 or this, you have the right of appeal. So finality is not in the work of that committee. It can be judicially reviewed or through a high court intervention. So in this case, what you do is that you allow the high court when it comes to a commission of inquiry, but here you go to the court of appeal. And that is why for lawyers we say an appeal is a creature of statute.
Right.
There must be a statute that creates that right. Now when she looked at the options, she realized that no, there is no right of appeal envisaged under Article 146. So by legal ingenuity, try to come out with a judicial review, but to achieve the same end of an appeal. Because in an appeal, we say appeal is by way of rehearing. And so if you look at her relief, what she is seeking is to have a high court judge now sit and say, okay, the Poiman-led committee, you have done your work, but to my mind as a judge, you were not fair to talk on. Basically, to have that high court judge now sit in judgment over the Poiman-led committee, that is unconstitutional. That is constitutional lawlessness. Complete constitutional lawlessness.
You describe this as
complete constitutional lawlessness and should not be entertained.
So she's accepting
Let me
right.
tell you. If you look at grounds 1 and 2, reliefs 1, 2, 3, and 4, what she's doing is to say that the committee says I'm not fit and proper by reason of the findings of stated misbehavior. Right? However, to my mind, I am fit and proper to hold the office of Chief Justice. What you must understand is that under our Constitution, there is only one set of group or a group of people who can make that determination. not even the Supreme Court. It is only the committee set up under Article 146. And so, in the year 1994, the Ghana Bar Association decided to test that fitness question in the Supreme Court in what is known as the Urban case. The Ghana Bar Association versus the Attorney General, popularly called the Urban case. What was it about? President John Rawlings had then made Urban the Chief Justice. The Ghana Bar Association quickly issued a writ at the Supreme Court. In that writ, all they were seeking to say is that Justice Urban does not meet the constitutional threshold of becoming a Chief Justice. What they wanted to do through the back door is to trigger Article 146 proceedings by using a writ of summons. Justice Pega, Ajabi and co. saw through the rules and said, hey, please. You are afraid of Article 146 proceedings. So essentially what you want to do is to use the writ action under Article 2 to basically achieve the same outcome. We will not permit you. And if you read the judgment of the Supreme Court in the Urban case, my Lord Justice Pega had this to say. He said, look, as lawyers, as the creme de la creme of the legal profession, we expect better from you. And that, listen, the reason for Article 146 and its in-camera proceedings is to preserve and protect the independence of the judiciary and not turn an Article 146 proceedings into a theater like it usually happens in the courtroom. Now, what essentially now removed Chief Justice is doing is that if she successfully triggers the jurisdiction of the judicial review jurisdiction of the High Court, essentially what she's doing is to put the Puaman Committee, which otherwise is supposed to be in camera, to now an open conversation. That is where the constitutional lawlessness is. Because now that she had filed, if you respond to it, you have to come and do a merit review of the work of the committee.
But you're essentially questioning the basis for her removal.
Exactly. And so the committee's work is supposed to be in camera. Now, immediately you put it out in the court. Court proceedings are not in camera proceedings.
To strengthen your argument, but the Supreme Court in the Derry case said after it's over, they should release it. No, it's broken.
No,
so
I'm coming. So the point that we all need to appreciate is that in the wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, they did not make the work of the committee under Article 146 a subject of judicial review. The judicial review powers envisaged either in CI 47 or the Constitution itself to the High Court does not include the workings of the Article 146 committee. And the policy rationale is to preserve the in-camera status of the work of the committee. Because you see, at this point, if she succeeds in her action in triggering the jurisdiction of the High Court, what it means is that the AG by law would have to file affidavit in opposition. And in that affidavit in opposition, deposed to the fact that the committee's work and whatever were all fair, so what it means is that you have to bring the works of the committee before the judge.
And in fact, there's been calls that to the extent that the committee has finished and submitted a report.
Finality.
That report should be made public.
Yeah, the Supreme Court itself says so.
Look,
in the Derry case, it says they are not against publication, and we are waiting for it. We must get those reports.
The danger,
we must.
I know my senior brother, Martin Kwebu. Martin, when it comes to issues about legal matters, if you don't put a chain around him, he can run, for want of better word, run very rogue. and
to help our democracy.
Please. And stretch the law to a position that if we are not careful, we may have to rewrite the Constitution. And Kwebu has the tendency of rewriting the Constitution, using advocacy. But that said, what we should not allow in this circumstance is to permit a high court to sit in judgment over an Article 146 committee disguised as judicial review. In the superior wisdom of the framers of the Constitution, that was never envisaged. I recall vividly, you remember Zachariah Nyimakan?
Yeah. The Willency constituency.
The Willency constituency matters. After that, Nyimakan appealed right up to the Court of Appeal. Because in that case, the Constitution is clear that, a petition, the High Court petition, should end at the Court of Appeal. Nyimakan wanted to test his, whatever you call it, by putting up an appeal further from the Court of Appeal to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court itself denied itself that jurisdiction. Yes, of course, the beautiful dissent by her ladyship Sofa Akufo, as she then was not enough to get the majority to side with her. Because even then, the majority were of the view that if the framers of the Constitution intended that there should be a further right of appeal relative to an election petition, a parliamentary election petition hearing to the Supreme Court, the framers of the Constitution would have done same. I want to submit that with everything that has happened today, and the policy rationale as discussed in the Urban case, the High Court does not have jurisdiction to entertain this judicial review matter because it has the tendency of creating a constitutional chaos. One, because where in this particular case, the president had accepted the recommendations of the committee and has, on the basis of the recommendation, removed the Chief Justice under a warrant. And not only that, had proceeded to, as it were, appoint someone awaiting parliamentary vetting. A High Court intervention has the tendency, as it were, to bring chaos. And the Constitution should not, as it were, be manipulated in any way that results in constitutional recklessness and chaos. And so, it's unfortunate that you have an application whose strength is like an ice cube in hell.
What do you mean by this latest application? Strength is like an ice cube in hell. Essentially, what? It has no
To melt.
No. I mean, you can imagine how well an ice cube will survive in hell.
You don't understand.
Yes.
You understand? It should just end here. It's a complete misadventure and should not be permitted. You see, it is not a platform for learning. Governance is a serious business. The framers of the Constitution intend order, not chaos.
But you would not also be against any process that is also sought to ensure that there is absolute clarity brought to this entire process. When the last application was put on this table, Kofi Bentil, who was then with us at
Yes, I recall.
you were here as well.
Yes.
Indicated that we must not be against any process that would bring some level of clarity, not just for the former Chief Justice, but for our jurisprudence.
But there's
So
no,
that-
there's no ambiguity.
She's asking questions that demand answers.
No. You see, it's self-serving.
This
Completely
doesn't in
self-serving.
any way serve the interest of
Completely
this
self-serving. You see, what we should not run away from is that her ladyship, now removed Chief Justice, is not the first person to suffer under Article 146. No, not at all. Many in the past have gone through the rigor and the associated antecedents and consequences of Article 146 actions. She's not going to be the first and the last. In fact, it is in the public interest that even litigation must come to an end. And that is why the lawyers, they say sui generis, right?
Yes.
So Article 146 proceedings in itself is sui generis. It's unique for a purpose. And the uniqueness is to serve a role. If you permit this judicial review, which for me is an appeal disguised, the fear of the Supreme Court in the Urban case is what we'll be going back to. Where in this case, the High Court will now be hearing otherwise in-camera matter in the open court. That invitation ought to be declined.
Makuba is big, on this, and especially because of the points that Ejujika ended on.
Right.
That this process, if it proceeds and is heard, will just go against the constitutional provision of this entire process being in camera. The former Chief Justice is asking questions that goes to the heart of the reason behind her removal. Should the warrant of removal not bring an end to this matter?
Alfred, I think we've noted on this table, Martin has also alluded to that. The Supreme Court is clear that the minute, there are two instances. One, if the president failed to establish a prima facie case, in that instance, the in-camera-ness of the proceeding comes to an end. Also, when the committee concludes its work and submits its report, when that is done, the in-camera-ness also comes to an end. So I think it is a belated argument to say that the action before the High Court would in any way amount to a needless incursion into the in-camera-ness of the whole proceeding. In fact, the minute the Pamal committee submitted its report to the president, the basis of which the president acted, that in-camera-ness, the myth is broken. Now, and as Martin said, Ghanaians now have the right to know whatever happened, particularly the entire report. All right, the question we must ask ourselves is the Chief Justice, the removed Chief Justice, appealing the recommendation of the Article 146 committee? I don't see that. In fact, I'm inclined to agree with Eduji when he said the judicial review application has a semblance of an appeal. In fact, I read the entire document and I looked at the relief. In fact, she's coming under a judicial review application. When I look at the reliefs are straightly judicial review reliefs. But I had issues with the grounds. In fact, the grounds, the way the grounds were couched amount to a tacit invitation to the High Court to, in fact, go through or to intervene by reviewing the substantive work of the committee.
That's why it's an appeal.
But you see, that is an issue with her lawyers. Because if you are coming for judicial review reliefs and you have grounds, some of which do not support the reliefs, I think that is their issue. But Alfred, I've heard many argue that let me acknowledge, the Article 146 is genuine. In fact, it is unique, as Eduji hinted at. And but the argument that you cannot question the recommendation of the committee is disingenuous.
Why is that?
And this is my point. After the provisions of the 1992 Constitution, right? The provision must be read as a unified whole. In fact, they do not operate in isolation.
Right.
And the thing is that the Constitution is anchored on key principles, including justice, fairness, probity, and accountability. Therefore, any interpretation whatsoever that ignores these principles is dangerous and must be opposed by any well-meaning Ghanaian. Why am I saying this? Every Ghanaian, I mean, the minute the committee is done, you can question the manner the work was done. You can question it. And it must not have, the framers of the Constitution should not have stated it in Article 146 because the whole Constitution is a unified whole. So when you are reading, you must make sure that whatever committee is entrusted with work to do, like the Article 146, that work must meet the test of justice, fairness, probity, and accountability. On that basis, Alfred, the removed Chief Justice has legitimate grounds to bring a judicial review application to interrogate. But we all know, I mean, the lawyers on this table know that judicial review application is circumscribed. When you are going for judicial review, you must not couch your grounds in the manner that look like an appeal. Particularly, and as Eduji said, appeal is a creature of statute. And per Article 146, there's no room for appeal. As for that, it's not open for debate. Nobody should argue about this. You can't appeal the recommendation of the committee. However, you can question if you have legitimate grounds, particularly when you feel that the procedure the committee adopted were not, I mean, were not in your favor or do not meet the test of the Constitution. You can question them. And she cited Articles 23 and 296. And I was hoping that maybe her grounds will be well couched to justify those provisions. And I have said, Alfred, these are matters that should be that should be done, worked on by her lawyers, her counsels. I'm not in the position to advise the counsel.
Okay.
But I think she has every legitimate ground to question the work of the committee. And any argument and any submission that there's no room for anybody to question it because the committee has done its work and the president has acted on it, by reason of that, nothing should be done. I think it's disingenuous. Albert, I think if any young lady is listening to us, the work of the Chief Justice will not benefit her today, but it will benefit her tomorrow. Any young lawyer or woman listening to us.
Why do you go on that path?
No, do you know why?
What about the old ones?
Alfred, now the question is, Alfred, this is a question. People have addressed her as a perennial litigant. Alfred, the question is, must she put the brake on her litigation? I don't think so. The question I always ask is, has injustice in the system stopped? You remember the late Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in his famous letter from the Birmingham jail, which he wrote on the 16th of April 1963. He said, any injustice anywhere is a threat to justice.
I think you are confusing politics and law. You see, you can have an advocacy based on policy, reform. That's permissible. To advocate that, for instance, maybe in the superior wisdom of the framers of the 1992 Constitution, and thankfully you have H. Kwesi Prempeh's committee still working. Maybe an additional clause should be provided in Article 146 to allow for persons dissatisfied with the work of the committee to possibly vindicate that right. That is politics.
That's appeal.
That is policy. But I'm saying that the Constitution structured now does not permit. And I'm saying that, yes, it's true. Everything conceivably can be litigated in our court. And that is when the Ghana Bar Association in 1994 decided that they would tweak the qualification to become a judge and to have the Supreme Court to pronounce on the fact that Aban was not fit. The court said, look, immediately we say Aban is not fit. What we have done is to conclude on an Article 146 proceedings. And so it's a clever way of getting us to do an Article 146 work using litigation or a writ and decline jurisdiction. The point I'm making is that, you see, in this particular instance, where the invitation, and look at, you yourself have problem with even the grounds. The two grounds.
That's an issue. That
because you see, judicial review, when you do judicial review, the principle of law is that you are not substituting your decision for the decision maker.
Of course, it's clear.
If you look at the Wensbury formulation, 3 essential grounds: illegality, procedural impropriety, the issues of legitimate expectation and whether or not, or a breach of the rules of natural justice. So if you look at the Wensbury formulation and you apply, it is either you are saying that there is a rule of law that the committee did not apply. 2, that you have a legitimate expectation and that was not, respected, or that there was procedural impropriety or there was a breach of the rules of natural justice. It is not for a high court to substitute. So immediately you bring the question of fairness. And that's what the committee did not meet that legal requirement. That becomes a problem. The court does not have the power to engage in
the jurisdiction of the High Court in this matter.
Completely.
Okay.
Foreclosed.
Key one, is it the thing is, quick one. The backdoor procedure that was flagged in the Aban case, as Eduji referred to, I don't think it's playing out in this matter.
Why is that?
I have said that when you look at the reliefs were couched in a tacit judicial review application reliefs. But I have faulted some of the grounds. And I think these are matters the lawyers should work on. But the thing is that, Alfred, on this table, what I am finding it difficult to accept is a submission by Eduji and some other people in the media that there's no way around the Article 146 to question, in fact, the procedure the committee adopted in arriving at its recommendation, arriving at its
show us the way, Braco power.
I have said that the Constitution, when you are reading, you are just picking Article 146 and isolating it. And I'm saying that the Constitution as a political document, you should read it as a unified whole, thereby ensuring that no one provision operates uniquely or in isolation. You must get them in tandem. And I have noted that the Constitution is anchored on key principles. And those principles, if those principles are missing in any decision that is arrived at by any committee, established, properly so-called, established by the Constitution or an act of Parliament, any aggrieved individual can question the procedure. However, I have also noted, Alfred, and if you realize that appeal must clearly or should clearly have been given to you, the right to appeal should clearly have been given to you by the law. And I have said that Article 146 has no room for appeal. Be that as it may, you can question the procedure if only you have legitimate grounds. And I think the argument should not be pushed around or be peddled in the media that there's no way around it. That is, I see that as selective and cagey and narrow interpretation of the Constitution. And we must not, saddle ourselves with that. We must open up. I think
to be clear, did you say we can't question at all, or is the High Court? Because for the Supreme Court, you question. The decisions show how we are questioning the processes.
And that's what I said, that you see, in terms of questioning, it's the High Court. It's foreclosed.
What is foreclosed?
So it can be done in the Supreme Court. I'm not hearing him saying that you can't question at all, but it's the venue.
The venue. No, the thing is that
let's not run amok. We have a specific matter before us, a judicial review. The High Court jurisdiction has been invoked, and I submit that the High Court jurisdiction is completely ousted.
So when they go, maybe they can.
Please, that is not a matter. It's not a matter for now.
Okay. Yes. I don't subscribe to that argument.
Okay.
I think legitimately the High Court has jurisdiction to hear a judicial review application.
Okay.
Particularly because we know that when it comes to matters...
That's not what we are fighting. We're saying this Article 146 matters she's raising. Are they for the High Court judge or for the Supreme Court? Nobody is saying...
No, I think for me, I think she's in the appropriate forum.
Okay, right.
She's in the appropriate forum. It is open. I understand, individuals like Eduji and Ku in the media who who have a different position. But the thing is that usually your argument is based on where you stand. And where you stand will also inform what you communicate. But so, Alfred, largely, she is properly before the courts. I have issues with some of the grounds. It is something the lawyers will have to work on.
Okay.
But I think she has every legitimate ground to question the procedure adopted, but not the conclusion of the committee.
Okay. Just quick one on this, the jurisdiction of the High Court. I don't think that there's a blanket statement shutting down or questioning the powers of the High Court, but with specific reference to this Article 146 issue. Does the High Court, from where you sit, have the jurisdiction to hear this matter before it? Specific to this Article 146 work?
Oh, so to be very honest with you, you know, lawyers, we like to be guided generally by Supreme Court decisions, right? Because that's the final court. Unfortunately, on this particular one, I don't seem to remember how the Supreme Court has clarified which aspects the High Court can deal with, right? Yeah, so there's not much. Braco Powers agrees that there's no decision that says the High Court can deal with this part and not that part. So now that she has entered, if the lawyers, for the Attorney General will raise the matter of jurisdiction, and when it is done, you see, just like the other one, you know, the removal itself. You see, Dr. Sremsai raised some preliminary some questions to be set down to the Supreme Court. So in the same way, in this case, that's likely to arise. Then that one will be set down for the Supreme Court. Then the Supreme Court will show the way. That one, then we'll learn from it, because matters like this, naturally, if you ask me, as a lawyer, I can espouse a view. But because we've not developed the law that well, the Supreme Court may have a different view. Let's be patient about it. Well, as I've always stated, I wish we would get closure on this matter, right, far earlier. But it appears Justice Tokono is not willing to have closure. She wants to continue going and going. So let's grant her her right, right? Yeah, she has a right to challenge. So when they get in there, the matter of jurisdiction may be raised again for the Supreme Court to determine. And when the Supreme Court determines it, then we'll know. Whichever way, bottom line is at the end of the day, she wants to hold the committee accountable. And that one, she has a right to. As for the accountability, it can never be denied. So whether it will be done in the High Court or Supreme Court, we don't know. But so accountability.
Here's a question.
Yes.
After holding the commission accountable, and what happens? Will she be reinstated? I'm just asking. Is it possible that she can hold them accountable, and that would sort of override the decision that has been already taken to remove her? Is it possible? I'm asking you.
Why? That's it. Unless it's so egregious.
Because I'm asking myself.
Theoretically, unless it's so bad, what went on there is so bad that no human institution will countenance it, then that's how she can win. But with what we've seen, there are a few problems. I think, look, in all of this, what she has most going for her, in my estimation, is the failure of the president to give the reasons for the prima facie. Yes, that's that one.
That's the subject matter of the judiciary.
No, she's raised it. Hey, let's go.
Sina, if you look at
I'm paraphrasing. Let me show you. Let me show you why she's raised that one there. It will come to haunt us for years to come. Because when that was done to Chachuchikata, we're up in arms that the judiciary didn't do well. They didn't do well, okay? They didn't do well because the Supreme Court itself, when Chachuchikata was not given the prima facie, the Supreme Court itself said the trial judge's failure to give the reasons for the prima facie ruling just shows bias, malice, thoughtlessness. Yes, after saying all that, at the end of the day, he said, but it's not sufficient to cancel the whole trial. So as for, and that's 2003, 2004, Chachuchikata's case. 2003, 2000. So the Supreme Court itself having set that standard that if you don't give reasons, you give way for people to think that you are biased, you are thoughtless, you are malicious, I thought that this one, we should have done it. So as for the failure to give Tokonu the prima facie reasons, it's bad. It's bad in this process.
No,
but
I
it is
think
not
senior,
sufficient.
with respect. No, but senior, you see the reliefs.
Which
here.
one?
No.
And I'll justify. Okay, you read.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
senior,
they are.
No, hold on.
I listen there.
No,
hold on.
no, the reliefs.
The specific
It
reliefs,
says,
yes.
please take note, so and so.
Yes.
For the following reliefs.
Yes.
A, an order of certiorari bringing up into this court for the purpose of being quashed and for quashing the proceedings of 15th of May 2025 and the entire proceedings and the outcome of the Article 146 set up to consider petitions to remove the applicant, chaired by Puaman JSC. That's relief A. B, an order of certiorari bringing up into this court for the purpose of being quashed and for quashing each and all of the 3 reasons and grounds given. So grounds and reasons.
Yes. But if not, so when you read in, so now
And
let
so
me tell
if you go through all the reliefs, they had never questioned, for the purpose of this judicial review, the fact that the prima facie was without reason. In fact, she herself says reasons. Please, with respect. It's not here. At least for this judicial review. Unless, of course, it's a different process. If it's a different process, that's fine.
Let me respond. Please, when you read it, she tells you that that is the foundation. We can get the paragraphs. So what you are reading is the top. It's in there. She says,
reliefs.
Yes. So she's saying that, you see, in law, what she's saying is that in law, you can't put anything or nothing. It will collapse. Mark 4 versus UAC. So lawyers will, so she's saying that there's, I read it. ADJ also read it. So she's saying that the relief is the final outcome. Why is she asking for the relief? The reason she's asking for, she says you have no foundation. So anything you put on it will collapse. That's what she's saying. There are several paragraphs where she says she was not given the reasons for the prima facie. So her case is that once she doesn't have the reasons for the prima facie, you can't even do the hearing. And I'm saying that one she won't win, because in the same Chachu-Chikata case, what they did was that they just berated the trial judge for not giving the reasons. But they said it's not sufficient to cancel the case to say, Chikata, because you were not giving reasons for prima facie, walk free. And that one was even a criminal trial, where Chikata's
liberty
excellent. So that one was a higher things were at stake, liberties, right? Personal liberties. Yeah, the Supreme Court said when Justice Henrietta Aban didn't give reasons for the prima facie, though it was bad, it was thoughtless, it was malicious, it showed bias, etc. But still, the fact that Chikata should open his case was a good decision. It should stand. And then, Edwin, yourself, you've been citing the other case, 2017. Is it Asamoah?
Michael Asamoah.
But yes, so you also have it. So she will not win. But that one, it will come to haunt us for years to come. That if in 2003, 2004, we said failure to give reasons is bad, it's not good for our governance, why are we repeating that in 2025? That's a separate argument, but that's not sufficient for her to win the case.
Okay.
So let's go on. So now the thing is that, so when you
can I chip something? No, just chip something.
Unless that is on the permission of
Matibebo. Senior, with respect, to enrich the conversation.
Yes.
You see, she grounds the reliefs, the 4 reliefs, on specific grounds.
Yes.
And the grounds start from Roman numeral 1
Yes.
to 10.
Yeah.
Each one of them, it is in respect. So, for instance, ground 1, that all of the alleged findings, and ground 4, recommendation of the committee set up by the president, not the prima facie. Roman numeral 2, the findings and recommendations of the committee. 3, the first alleged finding and recommendation. 4, the first alleged finding and recommendation of the Puaman. So throughout, the attack is the Puaman committee. The findings and recommendations. Findings and recommendations. In fact, there is no specific instance that she even brings up the issue of the prima facie determination by the President and the Council of State. And I am making
several paragraphs.
Also, when you read the affidavit is there.
Judicial we are doing law. A judicial review has reliefs and grounds.
You've had your so let's go. Look, even before paragraph 94, before paragraph 50, she raised it. But look, another lawyer who has read it says we should start with 94. So let's go to 94 and I'll tell you that before 50, I read it. So let's go straight to 94.
So 94, where exactly are you looking at?
94, I'm just scrolling. Don't say she didn't
it's
raise
94.
It.
Just look at
it's 94.
That the proceedings, the refusal to give me a copy of the alleged prima facie determination, that should have determined what case I was to answer in the proceedings. And the current refusal to also give me a copy of the alleged report allegedly recommending my removal from office as Chief Justice, and the alleged reasons communicated by the Secretary of the President as the reasons given by the Paramount Committee for recommending my removal as Chief Justice from office show a reckless disregard for my rights as a citizen to procedural and substantive justice, and a total lack of any reasons for removing me from office as Chief Justice found in the petitions referred for hearing, and an insistence on presenting any sham excuse for removing me from office while hiding behind the veil of in-camera proceedings, and a refusal to give me a copy of the report as if I do not merit the minimum humane treatment of even being given a copy of the record explaining the reasons for taking my rights and entitlement for me. So Alfred, that's the paragraph.
And before that, even before paragraph 50.
Martin,
but she has said that.
Martin, can I quickly, can I just clarify a few things? Let me clarify. You see, when you do a judicial review application, you look for two things, two substantive things, the reliefs and the grounds. The affidavit provides the factual matrices. At this point, what the court is called upon is to give you something, and that is what the relief does. The grounds provides the legal basis why you are seeking for those reliefs.
Oh, yes. So that's...
And the grounds, Senior, can you point out where in any of the 10 grounds formulated that she challenges the prima facie determination? If you do that, I would yield to you.
So, perfect. Now let's go.
Help me out.
Let's start. Paragraph 34.
No, reliefs. I say reliefs and the grounds.
When I get to the grounds, I'll show you where she said there's an aberration of Article 19, Clause 13 and 23. That's what she's referring to. That she's not had proper justice. 19, 13, and then 23. You see, let's get this. I've been very clear that the removal is correct.
No, I'm not even disagreeing with you. I'm just saying that we should put the law.
View. Even this is what I'll say. Even if I went to the Supreme Court, this is what I'll say.
I don't disagree with you.
Of a removal, I support it 200%. Okay, it's just that the process you couldn't have gotten 100%. Look, if you want to understand this thing. All of us seated here, even including the professors, how many times when you were in university did you write exams and you got 100%? You won't get 100. So that is the principle we are showing, that the little things that went wrong. But we are not saying it's a failure. It's just to show that the committee couldn't have, the president didn't get 100% in the process. And that one we have the right to show, because it's not good if in 2003, 2004, the Supreme Court said if you don't give reasons, you appear biased, you appear thoughtless, you appear malicious. We shouldn't do that more than 25 years on. We shouldn't do that. That's the point I'm making. Okay. But it doesn't mean her removal is correct. No, that one, even if I was called in the Supreme Court, I'm sure I can justify my position that they themselves said it. And so today, you won't find the Supreme Court to say failure to give Tokonu the prima facie ruling is good. The Supreme Court would never be able to do that, considering their own decision in the Chachu Chikata case. And the whole nation was behind Chachu, saying that, why did the trial judge fail to give Chachu Chikata reasons for saying he should open his defense? So if more than 20 years ago, the whole nation was supporting Chachu Chikata and they said, how can it be right now, more than 20 years on, that, failure to give Tokonu reasons is kosher? We can't do that. We will not do that. Even the Supreme Court itself cannot do that. except that
cannot do what exactly?
cannot say that failure to give Tokonu reasons is good. That's
You
the
see,
point I'm
Senior,
making.
once again,
so
the injunction application, read my Lord Justice Tanko's view, and let me read it. In the injunction application, no, please, can I read?
Okay, I will.
See,
Hold on.
The ruling of Justice Tanko
Yes.
on the injunction, she raised the specific issue of she not being given the reason for the prima facie.
Yes.
And this is how my Lord Justice Tanko, canvassing all your grounds. He said, quote, the next ground on which the applicant invites the court to restrain the committee is that the prima facie determination was not judicious, as it was rendered without reasons. I have cautioned myself against prejudicing the substantive relief sought in the action. However, it is not in doubt. The applicant herself has acknowledged the existence of a prima facie determination. She herself has acknowledged the existence of a prima facie determination, however described. Then he proceeds. Whether the form or content of that determination rendered it a nullity due to the alleged absence of reasoning is a matter to be determined at the substantive matter. But I'm saying in this matter, that's not what she had raised. This is the injunction matter. You know it. I don't have a problem. If you are saying that going forward, we should add that to what we do. It's a different matter.
I think that you see,
It's not part of the ground.
responding to an issue that he raised.
Yes, so you reinforce what I've said.
I don't think so.
You see, I told that
You wanted to make it, no, you wanted to make it look like it was part of the judicial review.
He couldn't have said the figure is correct. He says it falls to be determined. Yes.
Read the whole thing.
So now let's go to 34. 34 says that my position is that having been directed to hear 3 petitions on 1 warrant, following 1 purported and yet to be given prima facie determination of the 3 decisions, the committee could not unilaterally determine that its mandate was complete, blah, blah. I told you, there are at least 3 paragraphs. That's 34.
But you see, you are reading affidavit as grounds. How can you do that?
I'm going, you haven't noted that.
No, but how can you do that?
Infelicity of counsel.
That, no, Senior, when you formulate grounds of a judicial review, and you give relief that you are seeking based on the formulated ground.
Yes.
You cannot use an affidavit to substitute for a ground.
You can do
to explain.
So
not that the affidavit
I don't think we'll settle this on this matter.
Yes. I mean, we can.
I don't think we'll settle.
Where is this coming from? So now let me continue. Where APG is coming from? He is talking about infelicity of language or infelicity of the language of counsel, and that place is a slippery slope. We all make mistakes. Look, some of the cases we take to court, in a rush, sometimes you write certain things, not leaving court.
I don't think you blame the lawyers.
Look, things happen there. You look at this and say, really, did I write this? You look at the grammar, the syntax. So please, we are looking at the substance. Once the court finds, and I told you that before paragraph 50, I noted it. You see, I've read 34 to you. There are 2 other places she complained about the prima facie. It's the kernel of Tokonu's case. I'm telling you,
come from different angles.
It's the kernel of Tokonu's case, and that one there, she can beat it for 100 years to come, and she'll be right. We'll be supporting her just as we're supporting the Chatuchikata case. We will be supporting it so that next time the system will do better. Because look, even Nebuchadnezzar Ekufuado, he brought out his ruling. Okujeto said that this I didn't say so.
No, let's not dwell on. You could have said it without necessarily referring to it.
So let's make the point. Kweku has a petition for the removal of the same Tokonu. Okujeto came on air and said he wrote the prima facie ruling. He wrote it very long, copious. Okujeto, he said he wrote it and Ekufuado signed. So we too, you have many lawyers in the NDC. This could have been done.
What?
writing the prima facie ruling for President Mahama to sign.
I find it extremely uncomfortable when, with respect, an impression is created that the absence of a prima facie, should I say, a reason.
Yes.
Prima facie means there was none. At least I just showed you where in the judgment of the court, the ruling by His Lordship Justice Tanko, he says that there is no judicial pronouncement or judicial authority to say that once you do that, the work of the committee is what? Is a nullity. If the work of the committee is not a nullity, and the committee has proceeded, not only that, giving her the right to be heard, appeared with her lawyers, it had gone through the motions, come to the conclusion and recommended her removal. Why are we going back to this belated? This can be the questions of, it can be the questions of reform. It can be the question of reform. It should be a question of reform. If you want reform, say it. But to try to...
hold on.
The process couldn't have been 100%. That one will say it loud and clear. The process of the Puaman committee, it's not 100%. That one, nobody can stop us from saying.
Was the prima facie part of the work of the Puaman committee? No.
She's saying that, so the committee should have said, Madam, if you don't have the prima facie, then we will wait. Let's ask
give you the
president.
opportunity.
Yes, please.
Okay.
That one, nobody can gag us. The fact that we support the removal doesn't mean we support everything willy-nilly. Because tomorrow, it could be me. Tomorrow, they say,
yes.
because you just thought that the grounds are strong. You see, let's not make a mistake. As for the grounds for her removal, they are very strong. Very, very justified. 150%. Or like
that's the bottom
200%.
line.
But as for the process, the prima facie, there, I'll be consistent.
Exactly.
The failure to give a prima facie, it's not kosher. It's not on. Let's not repeat that next time. Now, let's go on. So, you have shown paragraph 94, 30, is it 34 I read? The one we read. There are two other paragraphs. Yesterday, I remember reading them before paragraph 50. You see two other ones. Now, let's answer you when you said the grounds. Where in the grounds? Do you see the grounds? The ones talking about violation of article, look at 8. The entire proceedings and grounds of the said Puaman committee for removal of the Chief Justice from office are a violation of the applicant's constitutional rights contained in Article 19(3) and 23. That is it. So she's saying...
Who determined the prima facie? Whose responsibility?
Assuming... It's the president. So she's saying that when she didn't get it. She's saying
I just read what you read.
Yes, she's saying that when she didn't get it, and you, the committee, you were constituted, you were to ask the president to bring it forth, let her see, and then you, the committee, would also see. So that one, let's not take it. The fact that the removal is correct doesn't mean everything was correct, because we don't want this thing to repeat itself again.
So these are for reforms.
Thank you.
Let it clear. These are for reform, but it does not in any way undermine what has been done.
It does a certain extent, but not sufficient to remove it. Did you get the point? It undermines the process a bit, but it doesn't meet the threshold to say that the removal is illegal.
These are policy.
Just as in the Chachichikata case.
These are policy issues.
No, it's not policy. It undermines the process a bit. But in the Chachichikata case, the Supreme Court said, when Justice Abban Henrietta didn't give you the reasons for saying you should open your defense, it was thoughtless, it was malicious, etc. But it's not sufficient to say Chachichikata, walk free. So in the same way, Tokonu is saying that when the committee didn't help her to get the prima facie ruling, they failed. They couldn't have built anything. And we are saying, no, she's wrong. She's wrong. The grounds are good enough to remove her. But that failure to give the prima facie, please, let this be the last time. We can't do this. 20 years, 2003, this is 2025. So about 22 years on, we are not learning. What does it take to write a prima facie rule? Okunyeto wrote one for Dane Kufuado, and he signed. So NDC lawyers, and they more than 200, maybe it's a small number. You could have gotten one lawyer to write it quickly, and then President Mahama signs. Okay. Yes. So is that all?
Yes.
No problem.
But no. But I think you've clearly exhausted the points that you wanted to make.
Yes.
About the distinction between your position on the prima facie not being made available to the former Chief Justice, and the grounds for her removal, which you clearly indicate in your view is right.
Yeah.
But it is the process that you think some improvement could have been put to it.
Absolutely,
I think that's
especially
all.
when after 22 years.
Okay. So
That is why I like the subject of science, because at the point I thought that I would have to pack my bag and go. 3 lawyers, different opinions, and even their opinions are not the law, because you have to go before a judge for the judge to pronounce
Indeed.
whether or not they are speaking the right law. So that is the beauty of it. Alfred, we are back to where we were. We preferred advice. The removed Chief Justice did not listen. They told her to go and negotiate her exit. On countless occasions, she did not listen because, as it were, some political fanatics from within the MPP thought they could use the law to bamboozle everyone and then get away with the misconduct, the misbehavior that happened under her watch. Now she's fighting for bread and butter, her entitlement. That is what she's doing. We have been told by 2 prominent people, intervened. She refused, which means that people saw the need to protect her from losing her entitlement. Now she's gone back to the court. It's very good. She did not pick arms. She wants to follow through due process once again. Who am I to say it's not bad, it's not good? She has to go fight it out, and whether or not she will succeed is another matter. Mind you, she's also in ECOWAS court demanding $10 million. I don't know whether that has been...
no, it has not.
It's not going.
So it's about money.
An active application.
It was about money.
That's damages.
That's
what
you
damages.
see all of this. It's all about money.
It's about money. It's about entitlement. Didn't you read her release?
Yeah, it's one of the.
Are we not talking about money? It's money. I told you people that it's all about not losing her entitlement. Sikaye moja. So I told you, madam, negotiate. She wouldn't listen. She will listen to the lies of Vincent Tasefa and Dummy Dems. Now we are looking for them. You see, they have run away.
What do you mean they've run?
They don't even want to be associated with Tokonu.
How do you know that?
Why would they? Where are they no lawyers?
They're in the picture.
They are not in the picture. They have vamoose to Tene.
How do you know?
Leaving some of us to be now defending Tokonu.
No, Dami, we're against Dami because of the things he said in the Japa tape. So
Absolutely.
Dami had to be sent away because it just is
But
an insult to
but-
Ghanaians.
Politicize the woman.
Okay, so
So the point is that we will still insist that she was wrong. But my take on this subject matter this morning is that a member of the committee, Mr. Domlevo, has made an expose as to what happened at the committee level. That indeed the removed Chief Justice submitted fake documents. That is why my pleasure lies.
which his lead counsel has contested.
That's a claim.
This is serious.
But were you there?
The lead counsel did not deny it.
That's a claim. No,
When I listened to lawyer, I thought,
Are you going to contest?
he has contested it.
no,
So
he
it's a
said,
claim.
he said he didn't. What he said, what I heard him say on a different network was that he is just a lawyer, he's a conveyor belt, and that if there was any fake document that was given to him, it was given to him by the client, meaning Tokonu gave him fake document.
no,
That's what I heard.
that's a hasty
No, hold
conclusion.
on. Let me
Which one is the
read
hasty
what-
conclusion?
That's a hasty conclusion. The line you are drawing is.
Which one is that? He said the document was given to him by the client. Who is the client?
No, is that if what you are saying is anything to go by, then but he didn't put it categorical as you are
But the
trying
man
to
is saying that the
make
thing
it.
was fake. He's running away that he does not produce documents, and that if the document was indeed fake, it came from the client. And I'm going by what Dom Levo said, and he said that's a different thing. How do you draw any conclusion from it?
So you can agree to go with what.
Oh, let's solo.
So that is where I want to compel
Allow the non-lawyer to speak.
Dom Levo to come out with the facts. And I also agree that the whole committee work must be made public, so that we can even go into these things that we are debating as to whether or not indeed the woman submitted fake documents. Then it moves it into the realm of criminality. So that we investigate the removed Chief Justice on criminal matters. So the matter is still evolving. I like the way she's busily going to court, and some of us are also going to pursue the outstanding matters. You see, our justice system needs redemption. Massive one. Because people are gradually losing interest in it. That's why you see a lot of people going to the shrines and other things. They feel that that is a safe place. If I go to court and I'll be sure, why must I be there? So this morning, the lawyers have had their bite, so I will leave them, let them go to court and do their legal what do you call it, gymnastics or jargons, and at the end of the day, the country will move on.
Well, thank you very much, Solomon, also for this. And this is what Lawyer Ikweotu said in response to what Domelevo said. Says, I have listened to him. I was surprised at what he is doing. I didn't know him to be that political, but I see him as only wearing political glasses. And he went further to say, this was the context. There was an audit report which raised certain issues. Those findings were sent to the Judicial Secretary, who is a spending officer, and the Judicial Secretary explained using the travel policy why certain expenditures were made. That management report is available for everybody to read. This is where I brought in Domelevo. As an experienced and former auditor general, I was surprised he sat there quietly when I made reference to management letters and queries, issues he knows very well.
But Alfred, this does not address the issue of fake document.
All right.
He was talking about
He goes on and on and on.
Yes, but he never dealt with the issue of the fake document being submitted to the committee.
Prof.
All right. So, Alfred, let me tell my people are sending me messages that I'm very calm today. Yeah?
Which is commendable.
Everybody knows.
This suggesting you've never been calm.
Everybody knows that I'm a calm
they don't
person.
know that side of him. And he is indeed
the kinds of things that gets me agitated are withering, our bad governance. If things are not going on well, then I get too agitated. But I think under the reset agenda, things are quite, relatively better. So then, but let me say this. I am part of the school of thought that wants to appeal to the President, Mahama, to consider paying the removed Chief Justice, her entitlements. She may have misconducted.
Grounded on what?
Well, I said we are just appealing.
No. But grounded on what?
Humanitarian grounds. I mean, on humanitarian grounds. I said I am part of. You let me make my point. The lawyers, you are done.
Escrow your end of service benefit after your CEO for her. That one you can do it.
Let me make my point.
No, gentlemen, please.
I've lost sympathy for Justice Kokoro on this thing. We kept saying resign. I've lost sympathy on their payment.
I am saying that she may have misconducted herself as per the work of the Poor Man Commission, but purely on humanitarian grounds. I was part of the school of thought that believes that, look, she, in order not to lose all her entitlements, I mean, maybe some appeals can be made to the president to consider purely from a humanitarian grounds. But the posturing that she's adopted, for me, is quite worrying, and is also frustrating to those of us who mean well for her and wants to talk behind the scenes such that something is done about her entitlement. And so I keep wondering and questioning the competence of those people advising her behind the scenes. Look, the reason why I have not and I will not do law, the reason why I have not done law and I will not do it, because people like my own lawyer, Gary Nimakwa, has told me that the law is more of 70% common sense and 30% law. And if I don't lack common sense, then why should I bother myself going to the point of enrolling to want to become a lawyer.
There's some
What
that-
the what
percentage,
yes, 70%. That's why I'm not doing it. Powers agrees with he nodded. What?
Okay.
So listen, what the removed CJ is doing, in my view, is quite pointless because I cannot really see what she wants to achieve. Having gone through all the processes up to this stage, there's no way, in my view, that she can be reinstated. And if she cannot reasonably accept the fact that she cannot be reinstated, then once again, I am questioning the competence of those advising her to pursue a tangent that, in my view, merely amounts to romancing a stone. I see what is happening as happening also as a result of the meekness of the sitting president. The meekness of a leader also contributes to the testing and stretching of legalism. We all know that this could not have happened under the previous democratic despot. He's overly stretching the matter to the point of creating what I refer to as constitutional anarchism. And I operationalize constitutional anarchism as wanting to use the laws and constitution and stretching it in a manner that creates chaos in the minds of everybody. But I will say that, you see, I can't say every slaughtered animal about to die will struggle. And so I would urge a certain tolerance. Let us be tolerant in a manner reflective of the attribute and persona of President Mahama, and see how she finally exits after going through all the legalistic processes and predictably failing to create constitutional anarchism, which I operationalize, as I said, as one's attempt to want to use the constitution and stretch things in a manner that creates a certain chaos in the body politic. She must be told behind the scenes, those speaking to her, that what you are doing is pointless. So you want to end up just being told or telling the system that, well, you've been removed, but maybe there were one or two errors in the processes. No process under the sun is sacrosanct. You would by all means have errors here and there. And so for me, the core issue is about whether she can be reinstated. And I think on this table, it is decidedly clear that, look, there's no way. That's why I asked Martin Kpebu that question, that is it that after going through all this process, they can say that, look, the commission erred, and so what President Mahama did by basing on the advice of the commission, removing her should also be cancelled. Is it possible? If it is not possible, if it is not possible, okay, if it is not possible, then so what is the point? Who are those lawyers who are collecting her money and not advising her properly?
If it's pro bono.
If it is pro bono, I'm just asking. It is possible. Even if it's pro bono, this particular you see, fear the Greeks. You see, with their pro bono legal service, sometimes they will do you in. And so my view is, Madam removed Chief Justice. If she
Why do you like avoiding the names?
If she keeps, listen, you see, the Gary has already poured into the sand. Okay, what's the sign? Okay, so just leave it and then be sober. I think, and you see, they are eminent Ghanaians. Okay, I think the eminent Ghanaians in the system must now reach out to her. Okay, in her attempt to create constitutional anarchism that, in my view, merely amounts to romancing a stone. They should reach out to her and try to rescue her, because in my view, she's just drowning. And if it is still bread and butter issues, once they've been able to reach out to her and calmed her down. Maybe some appeal can go on, even though Eduji disagreed with me. But the point is that
it will be against the constitution.
right now, it cannot. It is done. It is unfortunate. But my
Martin,
point
you
is,
notice that in all my advocacy on this matter, you notice that I've not done a of her grant for her removal. Out of respect for her. Out of respect for her. I don't even want to go into the merit. So just the legality.
What you are talking about is just 30% common sense. Listen, what you are doing, I'm riding on 70% common sense. The law is just 30%.
The law is the law.
The law is the law, and it is the law is the law.
The one that brought the law is the law. Is the law must be changed.
70% common sense. So I'm saying that if all that she is doing would not lead to her reinstatement, then somebody should speak to her. That, I mean, it doesn't help. It's like you are cutting or carving a certain niche, unnecessary niche for yourself,
right?
As a perpetual litigant, which for me doesn't solve any problem. What is going on? Like I said, let me emphasize the point. Amounts to merely romancing a stone.
Thank you, Professor Ramfo. Quite a number of the messages. I'll come to you, Dr. Zato, after this quick break. But this one says, Professor Jampo's calm and collectedness. I don't know if there's a word like that, but said today, it says, is it because he's drinking something in the fast? So I can assure you that this is
whatever it is that he's drinking is a calming medicine.
This one says, I'm confused. If the reason for the prima facie was not given to the former Chief Justice, what was the committee confronting her with in dealing with the case? Okay, thank you. This one here also says that the beauty of the law has been exhibited this morning by Godwin Ejudi Maklo and Martin Peebles banter. We enjoyed it. This is a full constitutional law class. It says, great conversation this morning. It's from a lecturer of mine at the law faculty. Thank you very much, Lawyer Agala. Thank you. This one also here from Professor Stephen Kweku Asari sends us a message.
I want you to read the message.
Please.
You know, Prof always brings a certain perspective to issues.
She should honestly tell us that she didn't know the prima facie for her removal. Who should have given it to her but didn't do so? Why did she sit through if she didn't know why? Standing before her without knowing their wrongs, and she went on to try them. That's the question. That there are three questions that Professor Stephen Kukwasari asked. Thank you very much.
But is Mr. Ocansey, to correct, is that not the one Justice Tanku said is before the substantive cause? So she's challenged it. Is that not so? The one you read?
Yes.
That the lack of prima facie. So she has a case in court.
No, I think that's her own injunction. That's the substantive matter of a Supreme Court action.
So it's before the court. So you have your answer there.
Let me also just say, right after this quick break, I'll read more of your messages. But if you're seeing this bottle on the table, and this is what Professor Jampo has been drinking to calm him down, is UGL Premier Fresh Mineral Water. This is a natural mineral water, UGL Premier Fresh. It refreshes, it hydrates, and thrives with a pure, crystal clear water. And this is produced at the University of Ghana, where all my panel members, in fact, I have two lecturers from the university still seated with us on the table. UGL Premier Fresh. Call them on 056-181-4444, 056-181-4444, or 055-5060-150, 055-5060-150. And you will be treated right. Also, this morning, let me remind you of Blue Financial Services. We're telling you about the exclusive offers that you get from Blue Financial Services only for the platform here on Keypoint and you, our viewers. Looking for a smarter, safer way to grow your money? Blue Financial Services, Ghana Limited. Our fixed deposit and investment options give you competitive rates and flexible tenors. Whether you are an individual or a business, Blue makes your money work harder so you can relax and watch it grow. Walk into our Osu branch today or call 030 396 8196 030 396 8196 to start your investment journey with Blue, your trusted partner. Blue Financial Services Ghana Limited, trust in Blue. Also, this morning, Christmas magic is here. Celebrate this Christmas holidays like never before. Book 2 nights and get the 3rd night for free with all meals inclusive, starting from 4,500 cedis for a couple. Now, package offers guests free welcome drinks, access to all in-house facilities, swimming pool, gym, cinema with popcorn, many others. I'm talking about Maha Beach Resort. Early bird discount. For those of you watching us on Keypoint, call them on these numbers. They will give you a 20% discount before the 31st of October. Bear that in mind. And then also the 10% discount before the end of November. These are the numbers: 0303 977773, 0303 977773, or 0540 124 114, 0540 124 114. That is Maha Beach Resort. And as always, I've been clothed by Kogra Clothing. Is the best version of you. You can locate them on the Spintex Road, opposite the Allied Oil Filling Station, ground floor, the same building of the Ghana Made store. For this outfit and many others, you see me well on Keypoint every Saturday. That's a Kogra Clothing. Call them on 0244 238 341, 0244 238 341. We'll be back shortly after this quick break. More of your messages. Dr. Zato will have a stake. Stay with us.
Every tear, every smile, it's led me here.
I came with a dream, and now I stand on the edge of destiny.
This journey tested my courage, but it revealed my strength.
From the first stage light to this moment, I found my voice, my purpose, my beauty.
We have come this far, and now the crown awaits.
And we are ready. 12 weeks of glitz, glamour, culture, and pure tradition. 5 delegates, 1 crown. Join us for the grand finale on Sunday, October 19th at the National Theatre at 8 p.m. Dial *928 *12 *3# to buy your ticket for 100 Ghana cedis. It's an all-ladies affair with Ghana's biggest female voices, Enam, Tina Soul, and Wendy Shea. Ghana's most beautiful, embracing cultural diversity to promote national unity.
I cannot deny it.
Welcome back to Keep On TV3. We are live on 3FM 92.7, Voice of London Radio in the heart of the city of London, and Voice of London Television as well. And I understand that there is a radio station in New York that is also picking us. I would have to also acknowledge that listenership there. This one here from Kwesi Mensah in New York City says, "Good morning, and to your team, please can Professor Jampo lead a team of eminent people of 5 to go and talk to the former CJ to let her understand that the law is the law. Is it mandatory to work with JM? Kwesi Mensah, thank you very much for your message this morning." Says, "Good morning, Alfred."
Let her know that the law is the law.
Yes. Okay, thank you. This one here from Manini Mani says, "Please, Tokono has already, the former Chief Justice has already taken her service package with the, it says, with the said amounts involved in this misappropriation, you say." This one here from Kwame Tanko in Asante Achim. "Martin Pebo is a realist person in Africa. His objectivity to this cause is irrespective of the interest of the parties. Only Prof. Jajampo," he said, "was a bit closer to him." I don't understand what that means, but "I wish all my sisters weren't married. I would have dashed him one for free." Kwame Tanko, Asante Achim. Anyway, thank you.
Kwame Tanko, I trained Martin Pebo, so you cannot say I'm closer to him.
Okay, it's a fair point.
I trained him.
This one here.
He came to meet me in this game.
Indeed. This one here also says that Edujit should consider becoming a Supreme Court judge at some point in his life before he dies. This kind of knowledge of the law.
Martin should be at the Supreme Court.
No, let me finish within a minute. This kind of the knowledge of the law
10 years from now
should benefit the nation
Martin
entirely.
will be there and be rewriting the Constitution.
So you are saying that it's out of the question for you. Joshua Tete is the one who says this one. Thank you very much. And I have over 3,200 of your messages. Unfortunately, I cannot read all of them. And please, those of you who take issue with me, kindly forgive me.
Let's make that point that if you receive over 3,000 messages, one cannot reasonably expect that you'll be able to go through all of them. Unless, of course, one day you would come and hold a program solely devoted to the reading of messages. Even that, within that span of 3 or 4 hours, you may not be able to exhaust. So maybe we appeal to viewers and listeners and those who are texting that sometimes.
I mean, their involvement is critical to the success of the show.
On Facebook or WhatsApp?
WhatsApp.
For Facebook, they
and
are
then
public,
also,
so everyone
and then-
will know what you
yes,
sent.
That's true. Dr. Tato, on this, please.
Oh, thank you. You know, I was also enjoying the legal class.
Yes.
So what I try to do is that I'll move away from the law because I don't know it, and try to see if I can talk some politics in it. I want to use the example of what we call the policy cycle in public policy analysis. We said that the policy cycle, the cycle is a theoretical imagination of how a public policy should be done, starting with what we call the agenda setting and ending at policy evaluation. When Akufo-Addo was going through the process of removing Charlotte Osei, there was one chorus from every single MPP member that Akufo-Addo was just, what was the thing used? Conveyor belt. That the whole thing was just legal, that Akufo-Addo had no discretion, no nothing. Once the legal process is triggered, he had no choice, he just had to go through with it. And almost everybody, and even some of the lawyers in the NPP, were making that point that Akufo-Addo was just going through the process and finished. And then the case changed, came to when the process was going through Tokono. The debate changed. Now it was almost everybody in the NDC saying that, again, then President Mahamudu was just a conveyor belt, and that once the legal system has been activated, there was nothing else he could do, just go through. And then that was the question, said, mention one single law that President Mahamudu had broken or broke in this, and you couldn't mention one. In a similar way, you couldn't mention one. So the question I'm then saying is that no, the law or the constitution is necessary, not might be necessary. But it and of itself is not sufficient to enable a sitting president go through and remove these officers. That the catalyst needed to breathe air into these legalities, that catalyst is political will and partisanship. That if Akufo-Addo did not have that political will, or in this case, let me even use the theory of rational interest maximizing. If Akufo-Addo did not stand to maximize his rational political interest in the removal of Charlotte Osei, he wouldn't have done that. In that case, similarly, if President Mahamudu did not stand to maximize his rational utility, political interest, he wouldn't have gone ahead with this. Because look, City News reported that on January 27th, barely a week after the president was sworn to power, there was a petition submitted for the removal of the current EC chairs. 3 of them. So far as we sit down here, nothing has happened. We've not heard. In fact, agenda setting, which is the most basic of policy making, has not happened. The Jubilee House has not officially recognized that January 27th, listen, I might be wrong, but somebody might correct me, has not done that. Recognize that a petition has been submitted for removal of the current EC chairs on January 27th. Meanwhile, in March, TV3 reported that President Mahama has received a petition for removal of Tokono, and that petition has been forwarded already for the determination of prima facie case. The same political. So the speed with which this process is done, the alacrity with which this process is done, is not determined by law. It's determined by partisan politics. It is determined by their ability to maximize rationality. And so we should also talk about that. And then let us then know that if we do that, then we will refrain from just saying it's law, because the law might be necessary, it's not sufficient in this case. Finally, what I'll say is that what this man is doing, I've said, and if you hear the spirited debate between these two layers, it tells you that there are certain things that we would never have been forced to confront or to answer had she not been pushing us here. Right. And that may end up helping in our legal jurisprudence. And that means that students who are now coming up, and even lawyers now reading these things, will help them better. Because something tells me this is not the last time we are going to remove a Chief Justice, and this is not the last time a Chief Justice is going to take us through this. But when it happens later on, there will be precedents, there will be rulings to guide in how they are done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And there's been concession around the table. On this decision by the, in fact, now the third accused in this Eduboy matter is now a prosecution witness, Melbert Donko. Her former lawyer Tacha, says it's a hasty decision on the part of the Attorney General to rehabilitate this particular case, and that it's really, you are on a path of nowhere. Just 3 minutes on this matter.
Okay, I think I've had a fair idea of the charges that have been preferred in the cases. I think the Attorney General's main accusation is a very simple one. That as the Director General of the National Signals Bureau, you set out to purchase equipment from an Israeli company. The cost of the entire deployment and everything was $7 million. Of that $7 million, as Attorney General, at the time I was investigating the case, the actual amount that went into the account of the Israeli company is $1.5 million. However, I have found that the cedi equivalent of 47 million Ghana cedis had moved from the account of the National Signal Bureau to a company by name BNC Communication Company Limited.
Right.
Which company is owned by another company called Advantage Solutions.
The company is owned by another company.
Called Advantage Solutions. Now, this Advantage Solutions company is owned by your wife. That's the second accused. And so the movement of the money from the National Signal Bureau straight to BNC Communication, a private company, amount to stealing. It's a very simple, straightforward case.
Okay.
What it means is for you to come and tell the Attorney General that, you know what, even though BNC Communication is owned by Advantage Solutions, which is further owned by my wife, it is government company. Because it's like me here, I see you, I've moved money from the organization I had directly into my private account. And they still say that is stealing. They say, oh, no. I just move it for some purpose. I'll bring it back. That's simple. This whole case, and you see, if you look at the testimony, the witness statement filed by the Mildred lady, now prosecution witness. In fact, the only thing that she testifies to is what the money from BNC Communication was used for.
Thank you.
And so from a tactical point, all I see the Attorney General use here to establish is the fact that the proceeds, the tracing part of the accusation, that's the only thing that she is not really proving the stealing. Because the stealing is the digital footprint, the transfer of the money from the NSB to the BNC. That's where you offer your explanation and the reasonable doubt. I don't see any.
Thank you very much.
Pretty straightforward.
We've got to end.